Finding Duke is brought to you by Factor. Look, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes you just want to sit on the couch and game your life away. And meals, at times, can really get in the way of that. You got to get up, find all the ingredients, make something. Suddenly, you just lost a half hour of your life. And that's why I'm a big fan of Factor. Factor makes it easy for me to eat clean 24/7 with fresh, never frozen prepared meals that are so delicious you wouldn't believe that they're actually good for you. So head to go.factor75.com/Duke120 and use the code Duke120 to get $120 off. That's code Duke120 at go.factor75.com/Duke120 for $120 off. Defining Duke is brought to you by Indeed. I'll be honest with y'all. When I started working on my own video game, I thought, hey, I can handle this on my own. Yeah, well, I learned very fast that there are a lot of parts of game development that you need very specific talents for. Fortunately, I was able to address those needs. But I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool if there was a site that you could address needs for your own personal business just in one spot? And that's where Indeed steps in. So start hiring right now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/Duke. Offer valid through April 30th. Go to Indeed.com/Duke to claim your $75 credit before April 30th. Indeed.com/Duke. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, and welcome to episode 67 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. This week, I'm joined by, no nicknames, my co-host, Lord Cognito.
What's going on, Matty? Dukes are back. Twitter's been very lively with you, sir. I've been,
yes,
been monitoring.
These food takes are eating me up, pardon the pun. I've been feeling the heat.
Yeah, they're coming from a boy. They are not happy. I see memes, I see tweets. But you know what? I respect how you stood on your square. You were like, yo.
Just real stubborn out here. Yeah, right. I eat boneless wings with a fork. What of it?
Exactly.
My friends came for me after that, man. It was bad.
It was bad?
I've been fighting a war on all fronts here. It's been bad.
Who coming for you? More people come on? These are personal friends?
Yeah, these are personal friends who saw the tweets and were just like, no, hold up. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, I thought this was a thing. I genuinely thought this was a common thing. When I was getting cooked up over it, I was like, oh, this is just the Defining Duke audience, Last Stand audience, getting a rise out of me. Funny one, guys. And then my friends came after me. They're like, no. Like, you're whack for this, man. I was like, what do you, I was like, you guys like I was like, if you want that experience, go to medieval times, right? Like have your mutton, have your drumstick, really go at it. I'm getting a little too into it right now. This is a minute in. At least I could shelter myself deeper in the show, but I digress. Here we are.
I love it. Let's go. It's going to be a good one.
It is. And speaking of good ones, we just did episode 63 of Defining Duke Ultimate, available only for patrons. I am saying that this is our best DDU yet. I am very, very proud of it. I thought we did a great job representing all angles of an important conversation that's percolated in our industry, which is freelancing in video games. So we had Ty Guy Travis, freelance reviewer at IGN, but also host of the Last Word podcast, join us to talk about his experience with freelancing, specifically at IGN. And then Ty Richardson, who's a freelance content editor at Watch Mojo and Mojo Plays, join us to talk about the video side of freelancing. Then Cock, you represented very well, lordsofgaming.net. And then I talked from a more independent perspective. And we really covered every single base possible in this 1 hour plus conversation that, again, I was really, really proud of. I thought we all were respectful. I thought we really got some interesting details, like Ty Guy Travis really providing actual numbers, his pay rate, what it's like there, the pressure or lack of thereof he experiences. There was a lot there to sink your teeth into. Again, I'm very proud of this episode, not trying to overhype it. I do think it is our best one yet, though.
Yo, you made a good point, because now I thought about it. I rewatched it. And I was just like, man, first of all, you did a phenomenal job hosting. I want to give you props too, because you got everyone in, you made sure the balance was there. And obviously what was cool is obviously everyone, for the most part, had differing perspectives on some level. We came to agree on certain things, but I just thought it was really insightful. And I love that we had all the proper people with the correct information from each side to present what we had. And I think we kind of found some middle ground. I thought it was dope. It was one of the more informed discussions we have. It's definitely up there.
Yeah, I agree completely. And so that's over at patreon.com/laststandmedia. We'll see if that ever ends up going on free feeds. I don't know yet. We'll have to do some talking. We'll see. But you'll get early access on our show there as well. So it's still worth signing up. You'll get access to these episodes guaranteed, like DDU. So go ahead, check that out. And a big thank you to everyone who's been supporting us. And that way, we were looking at the podcast rankings, Cog. We were checking them out. We're looking pretty good there. We're trending upwards. So thank you to everyone who's been supporting us on the mobile front. It does help a lot when you leave those reviews. No pressure there because a lot of you are coming out in numbers to do that. And so I don't want to ask too much of you. Just enjoy the show. We appreciate you bringing us to the next level. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is a loaded show, though, so let's get right into it.
Let's do it.
Got a number of things to get through before we begin. And of course, patron write-ins where you can write in at patreon.com/laststandmedia. First things first, Steel Rising. This is a RPG by Spiders. They dropped some brand new gameplay over on Game Informer and have announced a release date of September 8th, 2022. This is the developers of Greedfall. They did Technomancer. They're a very janky, Eurojank as they call it, RPG developer. I thought Greedfall was by and large their best game yet.
Yeah.
This looked really rough. I think they're probably going to push it back. It looked rough, but like the idea is cool. You're set in the French Revolution. You're playing as an automaton. And it's very, in this instance, it's Dark Souls inspired. I'm not crazy about that because the combat in Spiders games is always very like lukewarm for me. So I'm curious to see where they take this. Maybe they'll have a moment like the Surge did, where the Surge kind of came out of nowhere and had really great Souls-like combat. But that's out for people to check out. It's about, I think, 6-ish minutes of gameplay, so you can take a look at that over at Game Informer.
Definitely take a look.
Next thing, this is more important for the PlayStation fans, but it speaks to the metaverse and where gaming's trending. Sony and Kirkby, which is the family group that owns Lego, invest a combined $2 billion in Epic Games, again, to help fund Epic's vision of the metaverse. Cog, watch out. You got competition.
I've heard about this for some time. Now I gotta stop playing dumb because they're coming. They're coming. You know, look, everybody wants a piece of the pie. That's where this thing is going. And Epic, let's say the new challenger. That's all right. The music, that's where we at. So and expect more.
Yes, we shall. This was a cool little tidbit, I thought. It can be easily misrepresented through a headline, so I want to make sure I explain it clearly. But Eidos Montreal, the developers of Guardians of the Galaxy, said they're finding their audience through Game Pass after a slower start. That's not to say that the game sold very poor, but they were just saying that over time, more and more people are talking about the game, finding it, and that's by and large thanks to Game Pass, you know, a couple of months after launch. So I think the game still did well. It's just that it's continuing to be in the conversation. People are continuing to play it and find it thanks to Game Pass, where they said never say never to a sequel. So that's still something that is up in the air. I do hope they do one. That game had way too much good stuff going forward. Even as someone who I thought it was just good, but a lot of people love it. I'd love to see them take it another step forward. I think they've earned the right to do that, and I'm glad it's expanding where probably a sequel will do better for them.
No, absolutely. We did an amazing DDU. I believe we had Ben and Chris on that one.
Yes.
And it was one of our, again, better spoiler casts. And I really enjoyed it. It was a pleasant surprise. That was a game I didn't see coming. And I really enjoyed it. So to hear them say that they've had some success with that, you know, on that back end part is really cool. And I see a lot of talk. I don't know if you've seen on Twitter, there's a lot of talk about dev supporting it and whether or not you should believe or take the deal and all this other stuff. And look, you know, we can only go by what's reported. So at this point, they're saying, hey, you know, it did well for them. So that's good to see. And you start to see a lot of cases like that. And I've seen a majority of cases like that. So continue to monitor it, but it's cool.
This is what I put in for you because I think you'd find this game awesome. Myth Force from Beamdog has been announced. It's a 1980s cartoon-inspired first-person roguelite. It's available in early access starting April 20th, exclusively on the Epic Game Store. I thought it looked pretty cool, but I know you, Cog, and I know your taste, and I feel like once you see this, you're going to go, oh, maybe not. I don't know. We'll get the live reaction right here.
Yeah, this is giving me It reminds me of a game from back in the day. My OGs remember, just on the graphic level, like it's Dragon's Lair, but it like the vibe. But it looks cool. I like that. It
I thought
looks
so too.
really good. I know this. You called this right. I am feeling this. So
Good.
yeah, I got
Good.
my eye on this for sure.
I think it'll be at PAX, but I'm not sure. So we'll see. Just a quick update on CD Projekt Red. They reaffirmed that expansions are on the way for Cyberpunk 2077. They also announced on their Witcher Twitter account that they have decided to take the next-gen version in-house. I guess they were letting someone else work on it. And they're evaluating the scope of the work that needs to be done and thus have to postpone the Q2 release until further notice. They have not given a new release window for the Witcher 3 next-gen update. Some of the replies I saw were quite mean. I was very surprised by that. People were very displeased by this, saying like, why do you guys do this? And I'm like, do you not remember what just happened? So I hope CD Projekt Red just ignores them and does what they're doing here, the right thing, and just work away on this. People will come when the thing's ready.
Yeah.
So.
Do we know real quickly who that group was that was working on it? Because if I thought don't quote me, I thought it was Saber or something.
I believe it was Saber.
Yeah, then I don't know what the rumors are, but I've seen the talk that there's people are trying to disassociate themselves with Saber for a certain reason. I'm not sure. Again, rumor, conjecture. I just saw some things on my timeline that I didn't get a chance to dig deeper in, and I was just curious. But yeah, I will monitor the Saber Interactive thing and see what we get from that, because I believe they were initially on that project.
Yes, I believe you're correct on that. On the showcase front, a couple of announcements. First one, THQ Nordic is hosting a digital showcase on August 12th. So we're going to probably see a new SpongeBob game there. It's the one I'm most hyped for, because that Cosmic Shake game has the chance to be like the next-gen version of Battle for Bikini Bottom that I've always wanted. So that's going to be hype. But that's happening. And alongside that, in August is QuakeCon. It'll be digital only for the third year straight now. August 18th to the 22nd. More details to come in June. I thought the announcement of that was very, very interesting. June, giving more details. I think they're going to wait for a certain sci-fi RPG to be shown off.
I mean, it just seems to line up. I mean,
not a strange coincidence here if you'll read between the lines, but they're planning next year to go in person. We'll see about that. QuakeCon's always a great time, so I do hope they manage to do that next year.
I've never been to one, and I want to.
It's really cool. It's not like PAX or anything. You just, especially when you go to the computer room, the BYOC, I think it's called, and you see the tables and tables and tables of computers and laptops just lined up from end to end, people on top of each other. It's actually kind of surprising the room doesn't reek, because I mean, it's just a like a school cafeteria, if you will, loaded up with gamers and computers. Man, people are just gaming against each other. It's really cool, but I wonder how much electricity that room costs the convention alone. It's insane.
For sure.
All right, so that's just some quick updates on little news bits. We're going to move into a conversation with the audience. Again, you can write in at patreon.com/laststandmedia like Andrew M. did. He writes, hello, my fine dukes. For 2 weeks in a row, Crusader Kings 3 has been Lord Cog's Game Pass pick of the week. I'm wondering if Lord Cog knows there's an amazing modding scene for Crusader Kings 3 on Steam, which is now a free-to-play game. There are total conversion mods. Crusader Kings 2 is free to play on Steam. There are total conversion mods changing the setting to Lord of the Rings Middle-earth, Cyrodiil of Elder Scrolls, Westeros, and Essos of Game of Thrones, which happens to be my favorite, and many others. Just thought I'd bring it up in case COG doesn't know about it. Also, Crusader Kings 3 has a growing mod scene as well. I'm not sure if the console version will have mod support, but the PC version will be a great scene for mods in the future. Matty, you should check this stuff out. I think you get a kick out of it for the role-playing elements. Best regards, Andrew M. So I just want to put that on your radar, Cog.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that's definitely on what game I've been playing, and I would love to see what they've come up with in the mod scene, and to see if that translate over the console is the question, right? Do they do the Bethesda model where they eventually bring that over? That would be cool. I think it's going to come down to how much traction the game gets and receives on console.
It's high effort.
Yeah, because that's effort. That's effort for sure.
This one will definitely be important moving into a conversation we're going to have in our news section. Brett Lindstrom writes in, hey boys, in regards to last week's show where you talk about Halo Infinite getting a Battle Royale mode developed by Certain Affinity, I think that it is important to bring up that Certain Affinity was founded by Max Hoberman and ex-Bungie employees. Max was the multiplayer, online, and UI design lead on Halo 2 and 3, so it's safe to say he has a legendary, pun intended, Halo background. Just wanted to offer this input because to me, Max working on Halo multiplayer again is very exciting news and not at all worrying news. Hope you boys have an oops, just stuck myself with a plasma grenade kind of day. Thank you, Brett. It's a little more encouraging on that front, I'd say. I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, this is good news. Definitely that team is really decorated. And I'm, again, because I come from live service, I know the feeling initially is like, oh, what's going on? Why isn't 343 doing this? Oh, they can't even. And it's generally not how it works. A lot of stuff gets offloaded. And even with Destiny, some of Destiny's best content, seasonal content, would be stuff that Vicarious Visions worked on, High Moon Studios worked on when they were under the Activision umbrella. So this is commonplace. Yeah, this is commonplace in live service. And they've handled whole expansion. So yeah, I have no problem. And now that I know who's on that team, gives me more confidence.
A little better.
Yeah, a little bit Battle Royale. Let's go.
Love that. Cody Richter is our next write-in. Hey, Dukes of York. Got a kind of a long post, but I wanted to share a little PSA for any LSM fan that's hopping into MLB The Show 22, like I know Cog is going to be talking about later. Cog said in last week's episode, the game does feature cross-progression across all platforms. However, if this is something you want to set up, make sure that it is the first thing you do before starting your franchise or Diamond Dynasty teams. I played the show every year on PlayStation from 2014 up until this year and decided to play it through Game Pass. After creating my DD squad and grinding through some of the moments, I remembered the account link and decided to link it for any potential legacy rewards and for the option to play on PlayStation if I buy it there. Next time I boot up my Xbox and log in, I noticed my squad and all progress was wiped. After doing some research, I realized unlinking the account brought my team back, but now I'm stuck with the progression on Xbox. Not the biggest issue in the world, but a little tedious, and want to help prevent anyone from inadvertently deleting their saved data. Have our best pitcher got hurt in the first week of the season kind of day. Wearing the DeGrom shirt, so, we're set on that one there. Your mic is muted, by the way.
Sorry. Yeah, I saw you with the DeGrom. Thank you. Our boys won today, so salute.
Yes, we did.
But DeGrom, man, we need DeGrom.
We got Tyler McGill, so
yeah. He looking nice.
I love him.
He looked like we got something with that. Shout out to Cody. This is good news. Like, this is good information because he's right. Like, luckily I started my stuff before and set up the cross progression stuff before I went and dived deep into any type of dynasty type of stuff. But this is good information for people who truly intend, because for me, it's going to be Switch. I'm going to be going back and forth to bang out some games here and there. So great information.
For sure. Speaking of great information, Takoyaki writes in with some interesting insight. Howdy there, Godskin Duke duos. I like that one there.
I like that.
In the past couple of episodes, Japan has been a topic of interest. As a Japanese guy, I wanted to chime in with my 2 cents, though my opinions may be anecdotal. Hopefully it'll be some food for thought. Despite the Switch being the absolute titan of a seller in Japan, Game Pass has become a hot topic of discussion for quite a bit between Japanese gamers online on 2CH and Japanese Twitter. You see, us Japanese are cheap, often shamelessly so, and Game Pass prices is very appealing, especially for those who play on PC. Perhaps this may be a reason as to Japanese gamers, including myself, on why they are picking up the Series X. Additionally, the reason why Japanese people didn't care too much for JRPGs on the 360, and the reason as to why anyone bought a 360 at all, was for Idolmaster and maybe Halo. A good dating sim or waifu sim combined with the convenience and accessibility will absolutely override anything and everything to Japanese gamers most of the time. Which is why smartphone gacha games are an absolute beast of a seller in Japan. Games such as Fate Grand Order, Uma Musume, Grand Blue Fantasy, etc. And since almost everyone is outside working or on the move, smartphones and the Switch are the primary gaming platforms that appeal to the Japanese audience. I hope my writing gave some good insight. Many thanks, and I pulled my wired controller and yanked my console onto the floor kind of day. My dog did that to me once, and I was like, oh. Almost did it with the PS5 when I first got it. That would have been, he would have had to find a new home. He would have been out.
We could have been in shelter.
Yeah.
Look, man, shout out to Takoyaki. I love this, man. I love perspective from people who live in a foreign country that I'm not familiar with. From a gaming perspective, you always want to know what the real trends, what the streets are saying.
What's the buzz?
Yeah, this is good information. I'm actually surprised he's saying that Game Pass is actually appealing to them because, he literally put it like, oh, we cheap out here. Like, we, you know what I'm saying? Like, we try to save a buck. And see, that's the thing I've always felt that the hardcore gamer doesn't understand. For the anti-Game Pass crowd, I get it. No one's locking you in. No one's saying, yo, you gotta buy a subscription service. You have to be, and that's it. But people have to understand the common Joe is more of them than there are us. And people sometimes be like, yo, a good deal is a good deal. I'm getting in. You giving me all of this? Now, the other thing that I like what he said is what the trends are as far as the games and the Wafu Sims. And that is very interesting. And I think this is something that Xbox needs to pay attention to. We always talked about the JRPG stuff, but we got to cater to the sensibilities of the region. And this is another thing. Again, I hate that I'm coming for the hardcore today, but a lot of times we'll see that Game Pass list and you'll go, oh, Game Pass trash. Like, who that for? But a lot of it is targeted to certain markets. So it would behoove them to have, whatever it's them boyfriend dungeons or whatever the choice is that, you know what I'm saying? That again, may not appeal to me as the hardcore, but it appeals to a region. Certain regions have sensibilities and identities, and you got to cater to that. So, yeah, man, I like this. This is good information. A lot of this stuff I did not know.
And it's why Soul Hackers 2 will be day one on Game Pass. Next write-in we got is from Justin Robinson. Hey, Dukes. No question, just wanted to shout out to my man Cog for recommending Demio. My friends and I have been patiently awaiting the PC release, and we have been loving it. 2 different nights, we have played over 3 hours straight. This game is pure fun, and we're having a blast just hanging out in Discord. Thank you so much, Cog, for the recommendation, and what a great time that brings us back to a simpler time in life. And this is just unnecessary, but hey, I love it. Also, Matty, you're the best. So excited about this year and the journey to Starfield with you on DD and Mr. Matty Plays YouTube channel. Better get yourself a Starfield shirt too while you can at the Bethesda Gear store. You guys bring the fun back to gaming podcasts. I can't wish you two a bad day, so have a wonderful day, Justin. Justin, Thank you. Very kind to you. I need to get myself a Starfield. I got to get a shirt.
Yeah, I got to get mine too. I just because how. What's the website?
Yeah, what's the Starfield merch looking like anyway? Because the thing is, like,
just the circle. You're not
faction-based shirts, right? Like that's what I'm looking for. So let's shop by brand. They do have Starfield under there, and it is literally a Starfield logo tee. That's all they got.
Just a Starfield logo.
Yeah, just a Starfield logo tee. I might do this.
I might do it though.
Yeah.
Did somebody at the event pull up on us with a Starfield shirt at the LSM event?
Yes. That's so funny you mentioned that. Someone did.
I got to get that Starfield because you know what? I want to tease the fanboys that be like, you can't be excited because you don't know what it is,
and just buy a nice almost $30 shirt.
Like I would literally do. Yeah. Shout out to Justin. I'm confident that will be shipped. Yeah. We gonna get that FedEx Super Rush. Yeah, we do that. We gonna do that right there. Salute to you, Justin. Nah, that's what's up. And salute to you on the Demio, man. Like it's so cool to see people, really get a chance to play it. And I just love the fact that it's on PC now because, again, there's gonna be some people that just look that VR is not gonna be their thing, and they're not. And now that the PC edition is out, full crossplay, and I've been poking Matty. I've been like, Xbox, you need to kind of get in on this. This is a great title, and if they get in, and Sony too, PlayStation as well. If you get in, immediate crossplay with VR. The player base is there. The game is absolutely fun. They got
perfect for PlayStation with the VR stuff.
Perfect for PSVR. So I think PSVR does have it, but basic console like PS5. Just because remember there's a PC port now. So now. All you gotta do is hopefully port over for the. I know they're a small team, but they got a ton of content coming this year, bro. They got new classes, new maps, new dungeons, new modes, PvP, like stuff is coming. This game, they got a hit. They know it, and they're gonna be at PAX as well.
Okay, I did see that. So on the other end of the spectrum, we got to speak to Longshanks 19 about general brand products in grocery stores. I made the mistake of opening my mouth and talking like I knew what I was saying, and we got a long correction here.
Break it down.
Long insight here. So, Longshanks19 writes, hey, Cog and Matty. Last week, y'all had a discussion on private label peanut butter compared to name brand peanut butter. Wanted to correct a few things on this because it seems people's ideas of private label are all over the place. I work in the grocery industry at the corporate level and work on these deals from time to time. Very little private label products are produced by retailers. Common private label items that are produced by retailers are milk and bread. though many retailers have sold off or gotten out of the business of making these items themselves. Instead, what actually happens is vendors bid for this business. Many of the private label items you buy are actually named brand products being sold under the assumption that is actually a generic item. The generic item is not the right term. Some retailers' own brands have grown over the years where their own brand actually means something now. I'll give you an example. H-E-B, a hugely successful grocery chain in Texas, sells H-E-B branded salad next to the Dole salad items. Both items are made by Dole.
Wow.
These items are usually right next to each other. It's the same exact thing. Now, why would a vendor decide to do this? It's the Game Pass effect. I can't believe what I'm fucking reading right now.
I'm reading right now. This is crazy.
I love this.
Let me hear this.
They are taking the sure money at a reduced rate. Retailers will contract so many units per year that can be guaranteed. Vendors are giving up their brand being out there, so there is a give and take with it. Some brands, the strongest brands mainly, refuse to go to the private label route, and some are very successful still. The reason some Dole items are still on the shelf at H-E-B is because Dole made H-E-B put it in the contract that they have a certain percentage of Dole labeled items, so their brand is still out there somewhat. Vendors may or may not want to make this deal. A small retailer may not do enough volume to justify doing a new film. The actual packaging can cost up to tens of thousands to do or more. Basically, many, if not most, of the own brand items out there are just the actual products you know and love. I know many of them, but can't really speak to them myself. He's actually signed an NDA. He says he's got the NDA. Wow. You can figure them out if you're somewhat of a scientist yourself. These deals go retailer by retailer, so they are going to be different by region. But if you're curious enough, you can figure them out. I actually never thought of this in Game Pass terms, but there's a lot of crossover here. Do you take the sure money but cheapen your brand somewhat by going the Game Pass route? Or do you hold strong to your brand and trust your sales will be there? Love what you guys are doing on Defining Duke. Keep it up. So This information could not go ignored, in my opinion. It had to be put in the show.
Good catch. Good catch.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Long shot. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to defer to your knowledge here. Obviously, you're under NDA. Can I talk? And this whole private label stuff, but yeah, it's interesting, right? Because this is the discussion on Game Pass from a developer standpoint. Like, do you take the deal, right? Mm-hmm. Do you quote unquote bet on yourself and you say, hey, no, I'm not going to put it on Game Pass. I'm just going to go straight for the sales or whatever. Whereas some say, look, we're not sure, or the deal is so enticing that we're going to take this upfront bag, whatever. So it again, this is an interesting time for developers. And I love how this relates to the...
It does, though.
Yeah,
some people are not taking that ShopRite bag. They're not. Yeah. They're saying we trust in our Hickory Dickory Dock barbecue sauce brand, and so we're going to go for it.
And you know where the parallel is even cooler? It really resonates with me because like there's this perception like, oh, the generic salad that he's talking about, right? It's like that's the Game Pass font, right? You know what I'm saying? Like even mentally,
it's sometimes the same shit.
It's the same thing. I'm coming in, I'm slandering, non-Jif peanut butter, and then come to find out it's literally the same thing. You know what I'm saying? According to him, so it is interesting the mindset of the consumer, the bet of the retailer on themselves, and how it translates in these deals behind the scenes. That was a great topic by Longshanks and a great ad by you.
I'm officially a generic store brand shopper now. If they're the same and I'm saving some money here or there, that's all it takes, man.
Game Pass peanut butter fodder.
Absolutely. Defining Duke is brought to you by Factor. Look, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes you just want to sit on the couch and game your life away. Doesn't matter about anything else. And meals at times can really get in the way of that. You got to get up, find all the ingredients, make something. Suddenly you just lost a half hour of your life. And that's why I'm a big fan of Factor. Factor makes it easy for me to eat clean 24/7 with fresh, never frozen prepared meals that are so delicious you wouldn't believe that they're actually good for you. They deliver chef-crafted meals to my doorstep, eliminating the hassle of grocery shopping, meal prep, not to mention, of course, cleanup. That's another thing, right? You just want to sit there on the couch. You want to keep gaming. You don't got to bother with any of that stuff. Factor even knows my preferences. preferences. Look, I recently went vegan. They offer that type of stuff. Veggie meals, keto meals, so on and so forth. Low calorie options. Anything you want, they are providing. So head to go.factor75.com/Duke120 and use the code Duke120 to get $120 off. That's code Duke120 at go.factor75.com/Duke120 for $120 off. Let's talk about what games we're playing. We got an interesting selection here. I'd like you to go first, Cog, because we did briefly talk about MLB The Show, and you have many other games you want to get into. So let's hear from you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, the show. I love the show. I really like it. Really resonates with me. Shout out to the cause who it resonates with too, and like it really resonates with me because like I had to check my ego. I had to do something that it pained me, but like I'm playing, and I don't know if it's just my impatience, but what happens is when my let's say Pete Alonso, polar bears up at the plate, big situation. You know what I'm saying? Cog is swinging in the dirt. Like the AI purposely pitches crazy to me when they know it's the person I like, right? Yeah. It's junk on the outside, nothing but off speed. Then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna wait. And then they throw a fastball down the middle of the first pitch. I'm like, damn it!
You take the pitch.
Like, so I'm like, I'm all discombobulated, right? So because Cog's like, yo, I gotta play on veteran and higher. It's an ego thing, veteran higher, and I'm just sucking on hitting. Like my pitching, it's fire. Like my pitching.
But that's what I love about the game. Can't you do a pitching difficulty and a hitting difficulty?
I can, but my ego wouldn't allow me. So I just said, you know what? I was losing so many games. I said, look, bro, you're not it with hitting. You got that. I had that real talk to myself.
Talk in the mirror.
Bro, you're not it. Put it down. You know what I'm saying? I know it looked bad to say, what is it, rookie or whatever, not the first one. There's a basic one, and then there's like rookie, then it's veteran. So I had to go down a level.
Rookie just sounds disrespectful, though.
It sounded, bro, because I can't, I'm gonna tell you what it is. I can't hit a slider. Bro, for the life of me, I will sit and wait and wait, swing and a miss, wild, ugly swing. And I'm just like, I can't, man. So I put it down, and guess what I did to even really check and now I'm a better player. If you go into the sub options, there's an option for actually turn on batting hits. And I didn't know. I use PCI batting, so pretty much it's like a fisheye, and then you move it around, right? There's this thing in the fisheye where it has 6 dots, and it represents the inner side, the strike zone. So it's kind of like a pre-guess before. So if you know, like my thing is sometimes I know they're going to give me junk on 0-2 or, when there's a favorable pitching count. And I'll move it to the outside, that little PCI thing, and then get my cursor there. Bro, I'm fouling off. I'm staying in at bats. Now, the pitches, I'm seeing the ball better. I'm like, okay, nothing's more satisfying right now to me than getting a walk 3-2. Or working the count, coming back from 0-2, worked it back. Bro, I'm like, yo, I'm hitting now. It just checked my ego. So for all those struggling, bro, put the difficulty down. Put the hints on. It really does teach you the weaknesses of whatever your game is. And dynamic difficulty scales. Of course, I put on dynamic difficulty once you get comfortable, because then it starts to scale according to your habit. So I've been doing that. Still doing my March to October. Still with Crusader Kings. Been rocking out. I did my first war.
Okay.
So I did my first war. Yeah. So it was a little kingdom to the side, and he didn't want to capitulate. I was like, look, man, like you gonna have to surrender. I got a bigger army than you. Your army is like 200. I'm gonna run in there. You just bend the knee and let it be over. He didn't want to surrender, so we had to go in there. We had to pillage his fort. We had to run him down, and then he made the white piece. And then while I'm running him down, some other duke of whatever was like, look. If you capture, I saw it. He's like, if you capture one of their vassals, I have a sweet deal for you. So I was like, all right, cool. And then the cool thing is, you could find out schemes and murder plots about certain people, and your own people could scheme on you in this. If you're not keeping people happy, your own people could scheme on you. And I found some scheme. I had to execute somebody. It was bad. Then my wife, she miscarried last month. So we don't got no
sorry
heir.
To hear that.
We ain't got no heir to the throne right now. So I'm still sticking with it. But the only thing is, I don't know how long, Matty, because it's control, bro. It's control. I can't recommend it to a casual guy. It's just, press left both triggers to speed up time and do this and press the whole Y. Like, even though I know translating the console is not easy, there's gotta be a better way. And then sometimes just moving the cursor over something and pressing A doesn't do anything. You have to press X for action. So yeah, right now, Crusader Kings, I love what you're trying to do, but you need a simple mode besides the tutorial that also hold people's hands. And yeah, and then the other thing is
it's pretty hardcore.
Yeah, and then the last thing, I'm still playing Forza, man. Forza, I kind of got this resurgence. I don't know if it was because of the Gran Turismo thing or something just made me want to play Forza, and that's my mindless, casual, just boot up race. I did the battle royal race. I did a couple of drag strip, and then like that's my xCloud game, and I can get in 4 or 5. And I've been slowly progressing. This is the most I've played Forza ever, and when I play it, it kind of reminds me like, damn, Halo did take the thunder away from it, because I'm like, this game is still fire. It looks beautiful.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. So anyway, enough about me. You got some interesting games. What's going on with you?
I have started Final Fantasy X. My ways of the casual did not last all too long. I realized that while I'm in this lull period of no reviews, I wandered a little bit. I've caught up on a lot of manga, watched a decent amount of anime, and I'm like, okay, I need to play a single player game, man. It's just like I need my fix. And so I want to get into one that I have neglected for a while for Retro Rebound, and that's Final Fantasy X. This is one of the most iconic Final Fantasy games, the first one with voice acting, the one that did away with all the traditional active turn-based combat that we saw in the previous 9 entries, really. And it's something entirely different. And it's a game that right now I'm about 8 hours in, and I'm digging it. You can tell it's definitely a product of its time where they figured something out, which again, this was their first step into voiced cutscenes and all that. So for them, it was every 5 steps, you're stopping the game for a new cutscene. And look, as someone who's a Trails fan, this game's pretty egregious, and that's saying something.
Damn.
So there were definitely moments I was like, I just want to play, man. Like, this is a great turn-based RPG. I just want to play. But overall, I've been enjoying it. I don't know if my thoughts have developed a lot beyond understanding why it was great back then, but not being super in love with it right now. I do like the characters a lot more than I remember. This is the second time I've tried to beat this game. I picked up the HD remaster, and I think it came out in like I want to throw out 2014, but that sounds wrong. But I just remember playing it on the Vita. I got to a boss against Maester Seymour, and he waxed me, and my willpower was not strong back then, so your boy quit and moved on to the next thing. But yeah, I never finished it back then, so that's something that I'm making up for now. So it's really my first time playing through it, and I appreciate its story. The time travel, what's going on there, trying to figure out when Titus is, who Sin is, and all this stuff. It's a great game overall. It's just definitely flawed because of its age, but. Yeah. Some of the music, by the way,
really
so good.
Nice.
Besaid, oh my god, it is a track that's just such a vibe. I used it in a Cyberpunk video. I was like, I don't care if this doesn't fit. This is just too fire to not bring the vibes for my videos. So yeah, Final Fantasy X is great. I think it's still on Game Pass. I'm not 100% sure on that, but if anyone's interested in that, it's available on Game Pass. And I want to talk about this one later on for a certain segment, but I've been playing Weird West, so I'm gonna hold on that one. We'll talk about that later in the episode for our Game Pass pick of the week, of course.
Fair enough.
Otherwise, I've just been in League, so not much for me this week, surprisingly.
Good.
We got 5 warm-up questions. We'll get into the news afterwards. Number 1 comes from Sean Gallagher. What's up, Dukes? My question for both of you is in regards to Arcane's new game, Redfall. Now, I just want to interfere here and say real quickly that when I first read this, you may hear this and go, well, what is he talking about? Like, we don't even know what this game is. But I think there's a point that's made that's quite interesting at the end of this, so just be patient with the write-in. Fellas, I'm not even trying to be mean, but why does this game exist? I don't see how this game plays to Arcane's strength whatsoever, nor do I see how this game is going to compete in probably the most competitive space in the industry. Look, if you do anything long enough, you're going to acquire some experience doing that thing. I feel I've seen enough Battleborns, Lawbreakers, Battlefield Hardlines, Bleeding Edge, etc. to know this game is going to have serious hurdles. I heard its name get brought up amongst friends, and all I thought is, why is this not Dishonored 3 or Prey 2? And I'm not even interested in Dishonored. Thanks, guys. Hope you both have a Pittsburgh Pirates kind of day.
Ooh, the bird.
Struggling
Yeah,
franchise there.
Yeah, we good with our bets. You can keep that. But yeah, you already know. Shout out to Sean Gallagher. He messy today, boy. He like, why does it exist? Like,
Yeah, I think it goes without saying we want to wait and see, right? See if it delivers.
Let's wait and see. Let's see what. Look, I will say this in his defense. I remember when it was announced. I was like, all right, what's this? I remember the trailer. My reaction was very muted when I first saw it. I was just like, okay. And it kind of is those discussions that me and you always have, like the Game Pass formula. So 4-player co-op, engagement. Then I'm like, okay. So there's a part of me that I will say that I was like, damn, I was kind of hoping for like a just one or a, single player narrative kind of thing. Only from a standpoint that I know we have a lot of these type of games already. But then again, I don't know what exactly this 4-player is going to entail, like what type of game it's going to be. So I want to be fair to it. And look, the pedigree of the studio is there. We have to see. I know what my feeling was initially, Sean. I know where you're going, but we do gotta wait and see. We don't have you said Lawbreakers. That's wild disrespectful. That is like, bro. Like you put Cliffy B's worth D tier. Like, come on, don't do that. Let's see. You know what I'm saying? You got Bleeding Edge, and then you got the box of the box, the worst underneath the box games in there. So just calm down. Let's just see before we make these determinations. That's all. But what do you?
Yeah, I'm with you on like let's wait and see, but I do understand where Sean's coming from. In a manner of speaking, I get the whole new thing, right? Arcane. It's weird because from the outside looking in, I can't help but feel with Arcane that they're trying to find the big pop-off moment, right? They've done Dishonored, Prey, Deathloop, Redfall, and it's been a generation, right? I'm open to seeing them find their footing here with Redfall, co-op. If it's how I envision it, which is this dark 4-player co-op game that pretty much every section of the game is like a Dishonored map, and it's just all these Dishonored maps connected together, kind of like Elden Rings, like a bunch of sections in Dark Souls, all connected together, and it just becomes an open world. You know, you may have something there because I think Arcane, they have the best level designers in our industry. They absolutely do. So I'm open to this, but I do understand in a post-Deathloop world what it's kind of like to go, really? Like, why? Why are we doing another new thing? And again, this is not to get into that Deathloop slander train, but it's really more so to say,
this is going.
No, but it's more so to say that they did make something in the Prey Mooncrash expansion. They did make something that was Deathloop. By and large, it through and through was Deathloop. And a lot of people didn't experience that. So they took those ideas and made a full game because they clearly, as a studio, really believed in what that was. And the reviews spoke for themselves. Like, yeah, this was fresh and new and exciting for a ton of people. So I feel like they're constantly trying to break out. They're still trying to break out, even though they're a known studio. And it's interesting because I think they're the most talented team. And I'm a diehard Bethesda Game Studios fan. I think it's the most talented team they got under the Bethesda banner. So it's just so shocking to see a team with so much talent go all over the place instead of settling down and continuing. Like a Prey 2, I think would do numbers.
Question: do we know how Deathloop did sales-wise yet? I'm curious.
Deathloop sales. Let's see what old Steve Googolian has to say here. Forbes has an article. Deathloop is a critical hit, but how are the sales? This was September 18th.
Yeah, from a PlayStation.
No real.
Yeah, because I don't feel
it was on sale really quickly. In October, it went on sale to $40. It topped the physical charts in the UK in week 1. Deathloop's box sales are lowest for an Arcane game so far. It's only slightly behind Prey. I suspect it performed well with digital sales, but Bethesda doesn't share download figures with the charts companies, so we'll never know. Yeah, Bethesda's always been weird with that. It's only been like Bethesda Game Studios games they've come out and said, like, here's how well things have done here.
Okay, so I'm looking September 2021 MPD was 6th. So it looks like it was 6th, and it was new. It debuted 6th. And that month looks like it was Madden #1 expected, FIFA 2022, NBA 2K. Tales of Arise was over it at 4. Diablo
Oh.
2 Resurrected over it.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, so yeah, I was okay. I'm surprised. I mean, 6 not bad. Not like it's awful, but I thought it would be high based on. I know, Matty. I know how you feel.
No, it's okay.
Based on the critical acclaim I thought it received by the majority of the gaming community. So it goes. Well, 6 is not bad. It's just weird. I guess what the question
You'd
is
think
like,
for a
what was
game raining tens and having a lot of talk about it, it would be in the top 5 at least.
Yeah,
I know we're talking one spot away, but you just think it'd be like number 3, number 4 at least.
Yeah, like top 3 at least. I mean, look, I get it. FIFA, 2K, Madden, you're not getting there. Tales of Arise and Diablo 2.
Tales of Arise was fantastic. So
it was. Yeah. I'm just surprised based on how, the reviews and the Metacritic of Deathloop.
It shows that with Tales, sticking with something and then investing in it will bring results. You didn't have to do Deathloop, Arcane. You didn't.
So messy. I love it. Continue.
All right, our second question comes from Cole Helgerson. What's up, Dukes? With Sacred Symbols episode 200 being a live show, are there any plans for a live Defining Duke show in the near future? Maybe for episode 100, a live E3-like reaction show. I think I speak for a lot of fans out there saying that there would be high demand for a live Duke appearance focusing on Xbox. Thanks for the great show every week. This is something that I don't typically celebrate like big episodes. I know that there's an expectation because I think Colin's done that for Sacred Symbols with certain milestones, and I should probably get into that. But if you have watched Ham Radio, like we'd hit episode 100, 200, 300. I was just like, here's another episode.
Yeah, I'm bad about it too.
I more so to me, I feel there's a statement in like, let's just keep moving. Let's not celebrate what we have here. Let's keep moving. As for live shows and stuff, for me, I personally would rather, instead of celebrating our show individually, this is just my personal belief, I would rather all of Last Stand get together on an annual basis. I would prefer that and just keep our episodes rolling. That would be my pick, but Cog, we've never actually spoken about this, so how do you feel about it?
Yeah, this is a good one. I'm in the same camp from I'm such head down, always working, always the next move, always the next move, always the next move. So I rarely do things like that. I remember we did something for like subscriber count, for LP, but episode, no, I never did it. But I agree with you. I would like the LSM flow, like how we did that one. You know what I mean? Like I just like when the whole team and in fairness, Symbols is out here, man. Symbols been doing this for a minute, and they have a fantastic show, and they, their following is warranted. We're still growing. I would never say no to it, though. Yes. I would never, like if Colin came and said, "Look, hey, you guys want to do something for 200?" and we. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you want to come out and meet the Dukes? No doubt, I'm all for it. You know what I'm saying? Just don't bring Crocs and no crazy stuff.
Talk about.
No copies of Deathloop, none of that. No side copies of Deathloop, no Crocs and any other wild stuff that we don't like. No, I'm just joking. But no, we do appreciate it. And it's cool to see that people even asking about it at this stage. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So at least we're going in the right direction.
Yeah, we're still a young show, and at least our work together is extremely young when you think about it. Half the show was done with a completely different host, so in my head, it's like we, in the middle of its lifespan so far, hit a reset button and have built up from there again, which was tough to do. So, for episode 100, will we have like a special topic plan? Yeah, probably, but if it's like a big new, I think you and I do a better job when like a certain thing happens in our industry, building something around it, like what you did for the Activision and Xbox thing, where you like had a super cast for like 6 hours and you got people in, like you see a thing happen and your brain got going, right? I'm the same way. We're like
moments.
Yeah, right. The moments we can respond to and make something happen. But usually like if it's episode 100, it's like, let's just do a normal episode, right? We'll talk about it in the beginning. We'll discuss future plans and that'll kind of be it. We'll celebrate, but very lightly.
I'm with you.
We'll see what the audience thinks, though, what they want. Number 3 goes to Keith McCarthy. Hey, Duke Bros, more of a question for Matty, but I would love to hear Lord Cognito's opinion as well. With the announcement of Kingdom Hearts 4 all but confirming the infamous NVIDIA leak, it is almost certainly legit. What's your take on a possible Final Fantasy IX remake in the near future? I think this unsung hero of the Final Fantasy family needs to have some respect put on its name and be given the love and care that the Final Fantasy VII remake received. It's my boy Vivi's time to shine. Love the pod. You guys are the best. So we're going to be talking about Kingdom Hearts 4 later in our news write-up. We'll also be talking briefly about what else was in the NVIDIA leak. But yes, Final Fantasy IX Remake was in that NVIDIA leak. And, oh, man. I played this game for the first time last year, right? September last year. And the whole way through, I'm just like, I love this story, these characters. It's my favorite Final Fantasy game.
Woo!
But the gameplay was just like, man, like, oh, I wish they remake it. They'd remake it. But to me, I think it was like, Keith, you think, this is kind of the unsung hero in Final Fantasy. This is a fool's errand. No way they give it the 7 remake treatment. Now it's looking possible because, Square Enix also had Chrono Cross leaked in the NVIDIA thing. That was true. Kingdom Hearts 4 was true. So this is more than likely very true. And if so, I am going to lose my shit. If in a year, right? Here, let's lay out the Matty Dream announcement list, right? This year, Starfield gameplay is all but guaranteed, right? Then we have Final Fantasy 9 remake, pretty much all but guaranteed. There have been rumors of Sly Cooper making a return this year. Not a release, but an announcement. Then I've been told 2023 is the year for KOTOR remake. So I'm thinking like maybe PlayStation shows up with some type of state of play, some type of PlayStation showcase. That game's got to be in there, man. I'm thinking if all 4 of those things happen this year, I mean, that's it. And then if you put on top of that the other dream announcement, Mega Man Battle Network Collection, long overdue, Capcom, long overdue. They do all that, I can retire after this year.
Good.
It's done. It's done.
You're good. And don't you get TMNT this year too?
I do. Bro, this has been a great year for
monster
me.
Year. Yeah, like this is like all your stuff.
Yes, it's a great feeling.
Yeah, I have to agree. Look, I think as far as Final Fantasy 9, it is interesting. I have not. I want to tell you something though, because I want to be messy though.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Because my favorite Final Fantasy is Final Fantasy 7. And that's the one I live and die by, right? But no disrespect to 9. No disrespect.
No, not at all. 7's a go, man. That's amazing.
There's a certain contingent that always jumps on my timeline. Always tells me about Kefka and how great they are. This is a superior Final Fantasy. And once again, Square doesn't feel so. And once again, Square does not think that you deserve a remake. For as great as y'all be on my timeline about Final Fantasy VI is the GOAT, once again, your leader has told you where they value it, and the people have not. So you need to get on. You need to get on change.org. You need to get over there, Final Fantasy VI crew, and tell them why 9 is ahead of you. Why is that? Maybe because the people want it.
I just played 6
because
this
people
year.
like Matty want.
Yeah, no, dude. Final Fantasy 9
don't care.
No, Final Fantasy 9 deserves it. That is a narrative masterpiece. It's so fucking good.
Tell me, I want to learn more about this. To slay the 6. Continue.
No, because 6 is very good. Like I think 6 is good because at its time there is a moment in the game that halfway through you're like, oh wow, they did that. That was very uncommon for them back then. And even nowadays, again, I played it a couple months ago. Like it's aged really well in that regard. I followed a walkthrough to get from point A to point B. That hasn't aged well. But with Final Fantasy 9, man, it's just the character development. It's easily Uematsu's best soundtrack, I think. Like it just all comes together. Yeah, I could go on, but I recommend it. Keep an eye out for Final Fantasy 9 remake announcements.
Okay, cool. So you went 9 over 6 too. Okay, just want to be
clear. Oh yeah. 100%.
I'm messy. Continue.
Number 4 goes to Don Otaku, who writes in, "What's up, Mithra Matty and Chromium Cog? Lately, we've had 2 of the previously leaked Xbox publishing exclusives be practically confirmed due to job listings, which are Stoic Games' side-scrolling action RPG and Creative Assembly's Monster Hunter-like game. Now that we've got a good idea that these leaks could be true and the dust has settled on new leaks popping up almost every week, thank you, Jez, which rumored Xbox Game Studios publishing game are you most excited about? For a refresher, there was Contraband, Project Shaolin, Project Dragon, Project Indus, Project Kojima, and the 2 aforementioned ones from above. Have a Jez Corden just leaked everything good that would ever happen in my life, but the bad things are still a surprise kind of day."
That is true. We get some weird surprise, bad surprises. Initiative did this, Undead Limbs did that. Yeah, shout out to Donna Taco. That's the homie. Which one am I most?
I'm very curious about your answer because I have your answer in my mind.
I know what you think it is.
Let's see.
I'm gonna surprise you.
Okay.
It's Project Kojima, if it still exists.
See, I had you for Shaolin. I know.
And my heart is Shaolin. Yes. but there is something intriguing. And I'll be honest, my confidence is a little shaken, man.
Oh.
I'm seeing this man taking pictures in Sony offices, and I'm like, did the deal fall through?
What's the scuttlebutt, Jeff Grubb? What's going on,
What's
man?
going on, Jeff? Like, yo, like, because it's like, yeah, it feels like that trail has gone cold. Now, last year, it felt like almost a given. Like, it's going down, letter of intent.
Yeah.
And I don't know, the way he moving. I've been on his timeline. I ain't seeing this Xbox, thing, but maybe, he could just be doing other things. I don't know. Challenge a given, but if the Kojima thing is still on, I am very curious to see what his mind would come up with from an Azure and a connectivity standpoint with Xbox funding. I am very curious about that. And just from the statement that it represents. So that's what I am. Where are you at?
I'm going to go Project Dragon. After Hitman 3, the rumor of IOI working on a fantasy RPG with elements of Hitman in it just sounds like a perfect blending of, hey, we've built this thing for multiple games. We've got this set of systems. It works well. And we're adding this new vertical here with RPG elements, and we're putting it in the fantasy setting, which I don't even know how. I don't have a vision in my head for this game. And that's what's so exciting to me. We see so many different creative attempts in our industry. And so it's very rare I read an idea on a piece of paper and I don't immediately get like a comparison, like, oh, it's going to be like Skyrim, but stealth. It's like, I don't get something like that here. It sounds very unique. So that's the one that really calls out to me. Project Shaolin as well. I love the idea of a beat 'em up, loot based, celebrating hip hop culture, kind of a little bit of Def Jam vibes here. Like that one, I kind of have a little bit of a mental image. Like I could hear the experience almost, right? The beat 'em up with the music. Like that's kind of what I'm feeling for that, right? But Project Dragon to me just tops the list. Like I'm not a Kojima fan really at all. I love Metal Gear Solid 2 and it kind of ends there.
No Death Stranding for you? What happened?
Oh, I mean, when it comes to Game Pass, Phil, we'll check it out.
Then you'll revisit.
Yeah. I haven't even played it yet because I refuse to buy it. I'm just like, no.
You like me? Wait, hold on. You took my stance on it?
Yeah, I can't justify buying walking, man. I can't. I'm not buying a pedometer. I'm not doing that.
You petitioned the FedEx simulator?
Yeah,
this is a genius of the generation.
I rewatched because I was talking about Death Stranding for a moment in a previous video of mine, and I rewatched the trailer of like their definitive edition that they relaunched and the shit they added. I'm just like, this was hype for people, like shooting yourself out of a cannon so you don't have to walk. Having a bro bot walk around with you carrying a package. And I'm like, man, really? Like this is, in my head, it's one of those feelings you get internally where you're like, I got to be missing something here. And that's why I've just remained not definitive on how I feel about Death Stranding until I could finally play it on Game Pass.
I am shocked. You're one of the few that literally took my exact stance. And
no other game gets that treatment, by the way.
Yeah, I was just like, no. I was like, I'm not doing that. I was like, nope, I'm not, nope. I don't care. And graphic looked great. And people, who co-signed? Hogue loves that game.
Really? That's the last guy, I think.
That's the last guy I thought. Hogue is like, no, and a lot of people tell me, I see what he's doing here. And there's a deeper thing with it, from what I understand. But I refuse to do that until you get in the service that I like, and then we'll try
nice
you.
But
I'm
download.
not. Yeah, and then I'm like, all right, maybe I give it a second chance. I did exactly what you said. So let me look at the trailer, director's cut. And I was like, you got a little robot to do the FedEx.
Yeah.
You shooting out of. I was like, I'm good. I'm good. I don't still see anything that that's exciting me to get me to run out and pay that money. No. So I'm with you.
Defining Duke is brought to you by Indeed. I'll be honest with y'all. When I started working on my own video game, I thought, hey, I can handle this on my own. Yeah, well, I learned very fast that there are a lot of parts of game development that you need very specific talents for. Fortunately, I was able to address those needs. But I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool if there was a site that you could address needs for your own personal business just in one spot? And that's where Indeed steps in. If you're hiring, you do need Indeed because they are the hiring partner where you can attract, interview, and hire talent all in one place. It is the only job site where you're guaranteed to find quality applications that meet your must-have requirements, or else you don't have to pay. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites hoping to find candidates with the right skills, you just need one powerful hiring partner that can help you do it all, and that's Indeed. So start hiring right now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/Duke. Offer valid through April 30th. Go to Indeed.com/Duke to claim your $75 credit before April 30th. Indeed.com/Duke. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Our fifth and final write-in for the intro section before we get into the news is from Alex Kilgore. Hey, Duke Nukem, or Nuke Dukem, sorry. So last week I asked a question that was ignorant and inconsiderate. I believe it's a bad reflection of my character in the LSM family. That's not who I am, nor who we are here at Last Stand Media, so I'm sorry for it, and I will work to improve my thought process before asking a contentious question. I'd just like to say, Alex, real quickly, I don't really think what you asked was bad at all, because you were very assertive in the side that was like, hey, I'm not trying to be disingenuous here, like I'm just asking this. And I think when you say that, like, you know, you're asking, it was about Undead Labs, and like, it doesn't really
Alex
matter.
is a good guy. I spoke to him offline. You totally hard yourself.
Yeah.
It was totally cool question. Don't even worry about that.
Absolutely. That being said, I wanted to share an embarrassing childhood story to make up for it. So as kids, my sister and I thought farts were funny. Not much has changed. Hey, I can agree with that, by the way. They're still hilarious. One day, we were playing and both of us had the idea to find out whose gas smelled worse. So we both decided to fart on pillows and take turns sniffing them.
Yo!
Needless to say, they were both horrendous. We continued to do this for a couple of months.
Alex!
Until, if memory serves correctly, I love how he forgets this part, right? We didn't do it for a couple of years. It was, I don't know, when we stopped. He says, we were caught and told not to do that again. Thought I would share this for you as a laugh and see what dumb things you did as kids or seen something dumb another kid has done. Love the show and respect the hell out of both of you. Hope you both have a getting out of a nice hot shower kind of day. Cog, I don't know if we can match this one here, but have you done anything in your childhood and your recklessness that matches getting pink eye on a monthly basis?
You're going to have to help me. I know I've done stupid. It's just to remember, right? Like,
I think,
what, give me,
again, this is nothing will compare to Alex here, right?
Yeah, nothing's going to compare to Alex.
You know, I think I didn't realize it, but as a kid, I might have been a bit of a kleptomaniac and not really known that, because I think I told this story here, but it's definitely the most like, what is wrong with you, kid, kind of thing. Because actually, on a side note, if we're talking embarrassing, I used to love streaking as a kid. Just the freedom of just the butt naked streak, man. I used to
butt naked streak,
yeah, just sprint through my house.
Not on a dare.
No, just like I wanted.
I got one. Now that no one just came to me, continue. You go ahead.
Okay,
I got one.
I was gonna say, for me, when I was like in school, elementary school, mind you, you know, it was very young Matty. I remember we had a school store, and I would just like walk by and just casually swipe. You know, like a little, you know, remember the cereal boxes would have like, they would have the bobbleheads, like the Pedro Martinez bobblehead, Nomar Garcia Parra, all this stuff.
Yeah, no more.
You know, 10 cents. I'm like, I'm not spending that. Just take it with me. I don't know why.
You took the box, bro?
No, I took the bobblehead that they took out of the box and tried to sell separately.
You was dumpster diving.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't know, man. I don't know why. Like I did not grow up. I didn't grow up with a lot of money, but I didn't grow up needing, for sure. My parents took great care of me. I wasn't a rebel at all. I've still never gone through like a real rebellious phase outside of 6th grade. But like, you know, in elementary school, man, I was just swiping things left and right. And like no one caught me. I could have kept going. I was a vigilante in my elementary school, but you know, I just eventually woke up one day. I was like, why am I doing this?
Yo, look, that's real though. I respect it. You being real about it. For us, I'm
Moral Compass contacted me one day and was just like, you got to stop stealing.
You got to stop that.
Yeah. Stop taking those damn small bobbleheads from cereal boxes, those pencils, those erasers. Stop.
The erasers. It was a long list of items.
That poor school store, man. They're probably short $5 because of me. I got to make a sizable donation there.
You're just going through a phase. You're going through a phase.
I guess.
For me, the only thing for us, you know, now people that know us in ILP, they'll be like, we always say bend the knee, right? Bend the knee. You know what I'm saying? Because how we did it is we were so competitive that it's bad enough that we're going to beat you. we got to embarrass you. And we got to put things on the line, right? So we would believe so strongly in whether it be the Tekken, the Halo, or what have you, like these things will become real bets. And like, if I beat you, I'm going to have you walk down the street butt naked in front of everybody. And you're going to yell out that COG is the best. And like, we do that. We had grown men carry another man on their back down a street to like, we would do anything to embarrass you, to make you never challenge that person ever again. So there's a lot of butt nakedness. There was a lot of you had to, go between somebody's legs and do something foolish. You like anything to really strip your manhood, to make you know that you have been subjugated. You are not better than that person. And we've got stories. I had people break like their own merchandise and because they were so frustrated that they lost and they were going to have to do one of those things.
Yeah.
We had somebody take their own bike. I can't believe I lost him, and slam and break his only form of transportation to get home because he knew that he had to do something because King made him do something. Or I made him do something.
No.
King was bad. And here's the thing, you did not want to lose to King because you think how funny he is now.
Yeah.
So now he's got the whole crew laughing at you, and you gotta go butt naked or run through his leg or do something stupid. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the last person you want to emasculate yourself. So I'm gonna tell you, that's literally the forging of how good I became in Tekken. And like, I'm not doing that.
It was all on the line, man.
Yeah, like, bro, you're not gonna have me doing butt naked craziness.
I see now. I was always wondering how it got intense. Now it makes sense. The stakes were high.
So the pressure's up, and we're no. Shout out, I got to give Kaibatsu. We forged Kaibatsu into a man. That man, he went through a lot. And he became, remember I told you, 1 year he beat me in Tekken. Yeah. I'm the only time, like, and we had those Iron Man tournaments, 10 straight, like it. Bro, it was bad. It was bad. You didn't want to. Same thing with the wrestling. Like, it'd be so bad that somebody get to take the belt home. It was wow. It was crazy, man. Yeah, we was wild. We were some wild boys. Yeah, the hazing. Like that's what it was. We were the hazing crew.
Mm-hmm. I respect that. That's bad funny. Alex, thank you for writing in. Thank you, everyone, for writing in thus far. We got plenty of write-ins to go throughout our show as they're peppered throughout news. Just a heads up that for those who always want to be in the show, like if you write in topical stuff, when I'm writing the news, like it's almost a guarantee. Like it's a guarantee if you're asking a question about the news that week that you will be plugged in somewhere. So just keep that in mind if you're looking to get in our show.
No doubt.
Number 1. 343 has struck a deal with a new partner to alleviate pressure from Halo Infinite, which is struggling mightily to get new content out the door. Hot on the heels of a brand new Season 2 trailer, Certain Affinity announced in a tweet that they are, quote, deepening their relationship with 343 and have been entrusted with further evolving Halo Infinite in new and exciting ways, end quote. Jez Corden reported back in January 2022 that Certain Affinity was helping work on a new mode codenamed Tatanka that was targeting players from Fortnite, Warzone, and Apex Legends, likely indicating that this is some kind of battle royale mode. This isn't the first time that Certain Affinity has popped up in the Xbox conversation. It was reported earlier this year by Jeff Grubb of VentureBeat that Certain Affinity is working on an exclusive Monster Hunter-style game codenamed Suerte. This has been confirmed thanks to further job listings found on the developer site that are looking for developers with experience on Xbox and that they are, quote, working on their own original IP, end quote. On that note, it is also important to recognize that 343 is continuing to provide valuable content for Halo Master Chief Collection. The team revealed that Flood Firefight is now available with a brand new Elite variant. They also are bringing cross-platform co-op to Halo 3 and ODST on top of availability of the custom game browser in all Halo titles. Perhaps most shocking are the 16 brand new skulls added to Halo 3 and ODST for players to hunt down on top of a brand new one for Halo 2. All right, Cog. Let's start off with Blonde Solo, who writes in, hey, Dukes, I believe that Halo is a pinnacle franchise of not only Xbox, but gaming. I see new talk of Halo's Battle Royale by way of a partnership with Certain Affinity, which I'm on board with now, though I was decidedly against the mere idea of it a few months ago. And now with the official trailer for Season 2 having arrived and show some worthwhile armor customization such as Elite Skull Armor shoulder pads, do you think that Halo will be on a comeback sooner rather than later? I'm a lifelong fan, but even I burnt out fast on the meager launch content. Thank you guys for being on my personal Mount Rushmore of gaming news and commentary. Nice one. Let's start off with Halo Infinite. Talk about MCC afterwards because we have another item for that one.
Sure.
How do you feel about this newly announced partnership with Certain Affinity? I know you talked about earlier in the show how like you're feeling confident about this based off the staff. It's common for live service. Do you feel like the bounce back is inbound now? We got the new content trailer out. How are you feeling?
I feel good about it long term. I know the frustration is high. Mm-hmm. We're not going to beat the same thing we've always said. We the Dukes stand, the thing should have been delayed.
Yes.
But we are where we are. It is what it is. This is where we are now. So I'm for this. I think that we talked about Certain Affinity before. We talked about the Monster Hunter game. There seemed to be a relationship there. They may be very well comfortable with being like this great little Xbox support studio. I remember Splash Damage used to do a lot of stuff, Coalition and stuff like that. They made Gears Tactics and stuff like that. So this seems to be a role that they find a good pocket and a good working relationship with. And maybe, just maybe, this is the short-term injection that upper management has given 343 as opposed to, hey, we're just going to hire people. And again, I'll use the same live service model that I use for Destiny, is that Bungie could not satiate that player base. They just couldn't. We were like, content, we're done. What's going on? Where's the new content? That's literally what's going on with Infinite right now. Where the hell is the content? The game's good. Gunplay is great. Multiplayer is great for the most part, minus desyncing and other issues. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to get content. And maybe these guys can facilitate that need. They could be how Vicarious Visions was for Bungie, how High Moon was for Bungie. So I think this is a good thing. I'm all about this Battle Royale mode. I've always been on board with this because even though the hardcore do not like the sound of it, you've got to get Halo into the base that would never play. And those kids are Apex, Fortnite. That's what those kids play. You want that kind of mode in it. And I have no problem that we talked about the history of who's on that team. It seems like I'm for this. And they doing the Monster Hunter game. What's up, Certain Affinity? You keep this up. Yeah, you may get a bag in your future. You keep making up good content like this. We go and see.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's not going to be a snap of the finger solution. No one should expect that. This is going to be long-term dividends that'll pay off for them. Because we look at where MCC is, and again, we'll talk about that content in a little bit, but they're rolling with that, man. That has been in a really good spot for some time now. And 343 has shown now 2 games in a row that they need time to get rolling. And I don't think that's really acceptable for a first-party studio with Microsoft that they're backing, going through the flagship IP currently. I feel like the standards need to be higher. But as Cog said earlier, it is what it is. This is good for the long term. We'll see with the Battle Royale how that works. Again, we don't know the window. I know Jez said in his article from January that it would be sometime this year, it looks like, in a matter of months. And here we are in April with the announcement. So maybe it's a season 2 mode. Maybe it's season 3. I'm not sure. But I'm just surprised to see within the year of it launching that they're talking Battle Royale possibly. And I thought this would be a post-Forge. I thought this would be that would be it. And it looks like that will likely be the case because Jez did write in his article that it'll be linked to Forge, so that would put it in season 3. But again, I thought this would be beyond that. I thought this would be like, okay, we've got the Halo staples. We got our co-op, Forge, multiplayer, single-player campaign. Probably begin work on the next campaign expansion in earnest. And then like long term, when you're looking for that refresh, bring something brand new to Halo and Battle Royale. It looks like it's coming sooner than that. So that may speak to where the numbers are at for Halo, that they need a shot in the arm a little bit quicker.
Speaking of numbers,
let's hear it.
Have you seen the Halo Master Chief Collection numbers on Steam versus Halo Infinite?
Yes, they are much higher.
That's bad.
Yes. Part of me says like it's bad because of the launch window, but part of me is also like, I get it. Like we're talking like the iconic Halo package, but I'm not making excuses, but I'm just saying like, I'm not surprised, I guess, but I feel like Halo Infinite should have for a longer time been above them.
Like, what happened, bro? Like, this was
the game, man. We were saying King was back.
The King was back, and it's just like, what has happened? And it just goes to show you how no content, you're out of here. You know what I mean? And the PC community is putting their foot down on the quality of the game on PC and the issues. So they've still got their role to do on a foundational level before they get the confidence back. But I will say, you nailed it. Long term, like, we may not see the immediate dividends of Certain Affinity, but I do feel long term, whether it be season 3, season 4, yeah, they'll get rolling. But the question is the base going to be around for it? That's my question.
That's exactly where I wanted to go next, because I was wondering, hey, did we already satisfy or scratch our Halo itch? Did we already satisfy that hankering that we all had to go back to the good times of Halo multiplayer, everyone together, dynamic gameplay? Do people love it enough to, when they start to see that content rolling in, come back? I mean, no offense to Ben, but I feel like if Sea of Thieves did it and then remained on high,
you're right.
I feel like Halo should be able to.
You're right. No, you're right. You're right. It just sucks, because this is a situation that we know should never have happened.
Yes.
That's why I'm just mad. I'm just like,
it's disappointing.
How did y'all let this happen to Halo, right? So, yeah, I'm with you. But I will say this. All it takes, hot new trailer, Forge and co-op announcements, new shiny things, better store, better customization.
They got to be loud, man.
And they got to be like, and not only, they need it's in Destiny terms, we call it the Taken King moment, right? Where Destiny finally got serious. They finally stopped doing this hodgepodge, piecemeal fix here and there. Give the community everything they want in one big package. You market the hell out of it, and it's like, boom, we're back, boys. PvE, story, PvP content, this content, that, and oh, by the way, blah, 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 or battle, and you just pile it, and everybody's like, oh, we booting that sucker up tomorrow, boy. Let's get the boys, let's get the crew, let's go. And maps and you got all the stops, and then they could do it. They could do it. I just hate that they're in this position.
Something tells me season 3 will be the start of something like that. Not even because of the mode here that's rumored from Certain Affinity, but I think of the Forge. I think of the timing of co-op, which is not arriving at the beginning of season 2. We'll see when that lands, but if it lands closer to season 3, they can have a pretty steady rollout of exciting features. I just would rather them get all the announcements together and really shout it from the rooftop, rather than like, we just added co-op. It just gives you opportunities to get gut punched, right? Like, we just put co-op in, we just put 2 maps in, we just put a game mode in, Last Spartan Standing, I think it's called. Like, you know what I'm saying? Get up there, combine them all, and just overwhelm people, right? That's what I'm looking for. Like, overwhelm people, because the base content's great. Like, I put like 80 hours into Halo Infinite. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun. It's just, I'm stunned at just the sheer lack of output, right? I thought there would be something in the oven ready for all of us at some point.
Yeah, this is Division level bad, because
it's a good comparison.
Like you said, it's just no content. Like, it really wasn't like, they've been making bad content and that people are upset. Like, you've went completely dark. And it's like, stay with those maps that you've been doing, stay with the modes you've been doing, and terrible. And it's just like, bro, what you did it. It's such a self-inflicted wound. That's what's so frustrating with this. But yeah, I'm with you. Matty, you said it best. Meaty, combine everything type level expansion of content and just overwhelm. And that's how you get it back.
Yeah, because I feel like if you call them back to the entire package, right? This is a free-to-play multiplayer, the campaign's in Game Pass. If you're like, hey, here's the expansion for the campaign, here's this next season, and it's kind of like another refresh for it, I think that's a much more healthy content cycle than just shitting little things out every couple of months just because you're quiet for too long. Like, I don't think it works in their favor. And it's not in a position like how they're approaching Master Chief Collection. It's long been established. It's been doing well. And VRG writes in, hey, Dukes, did you guys see the update for MCC that added Flood Firefight to Halo 3 ODST? It's wild to see this kind of content added to old games. Have you guys checked it out? I have not checked it out, but I don't know if you have, Cog, but I definitely wanted to talk about where MCC is at in comparison.
It's like they got co-op going on, you know.
It's a weird look. It's a weird look for sure.
I mean, and they're rocking. They're rocking right now, you know, and it's the legacy title, and maybe I'm not making excuses. You know, maybe they're just split too thin because there's still it's got to be still a decent amount of a team working on this stuff, right?
Mhm.
And they're still doing legacy support of it. So again, not to keep using Destiny analogies, but it's like it almost is like, you know, Bungie wasn't supporting D1 when D2 was out, right? The problem is 343 still has a viable product with Master Chief Collection. People are still playing it, and we just talked about it. There are more numbers concurrently on social media, whether it be Twitch and Steam and whatever, than Infinite. So, you know, they've got a decision to make, and maybe Certain Affinity is the decision. And now we just got to wait and see how this thing plays out. But they better get to it. They better get to it, because as much as that's cool, I mean, that's cute. But to me, Halo Infinite should not be behind that. That's just me. This is the flagship next generation Halo. You've got a damn TV series going on in conjunction with this. Like, this needs to be
see a bump at all from that. By the way.
like it's supposed to be rocking from the mountaintops. People are supposed to be talking about nothing but Halo Infinite, and this is a blown opportunity.
Yeah, it really affirms for me that Halo's not the flagship for this franchise, for this brand moving forward. Like, it's absolutely your Starfields, your Hellblades, your Avoweds, Forza. Like, I think Halo is going to. Here's how I look at it. Okay. Got your top. I'm talking hockey here. Got your top six, right? You got your top six in your two lines, right? So 4-line game. You got a player who's been at the top of the league for 10 years. He's getting into his 30s, not as quick as he used to be, not as sharp as he used to be, but still an effective player.
Right.
Ego says, put him in the top 6. This man's got a legacy.
Right.
You got to accept you're a role player now, though. Get in the bottom 9, get in the bottom 6. You're in the top 9 now. And I feel like that's where Halo's at right now. Halo's still excellent. We agree. King is back, right? Excellent game. But its lack of support, its lack of staying power shows that I think the real titans for Xbox, I'm not saying this to defend them, by the way, but I think the real titans for them, the real definitive games for this generation for them are yet to come. I feel like in the scheme of things, Halo Infinite's like the first chapter, but it's not this major plot point for their story. Like Starfield, I think Redfall will be it provided it launches before Starfield like it was originally said to be. I don't know if it actually still will, again, based off what we heard, but Starfield or Redfall will be the beginning of a new era. And I think that will mark where things are in a ranking system of Xbox, like on their IP. Like, where does Gears sit? Where does Starfield sit? Where does Redfall sit? Again, I always bring this up, but I talk about the box characters you see on the console. And I feel like Halo will not be front and center. Be to the left center. Be to the right center. You know what I'm talking about? He'll be in there. You'll see, oh, that's Chief. Who's the cosmonaut looking up at the sky? Well, that's Starfield from Todd Howard.
Starfield.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at with this right now. I'm not trying to get down because they're down. Halo is, I love Halo. I replayed all the Halo games ahead of Infinite. So as someone who's a huge fan of it, it's just, I think, the reality of the situation. I think that it's time to accept it as a role player more than the flagship.
Put them on the second line.
Yeah, put them on the second line. They're still important. That's the thing. That's why I put in hockey.
Line the way you talking.
But I'm saying I put them in hockey terms because those lines are still very important for the overall success of the team if they accept their role. I feel like even this right now wouldn't be a big story if Halo wasn't the number one guy.
Okay. I know where you. All right, that part I'll push back on the first part, but I agree with the second part. The problem is the other guys aren't in position to start yet. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they're just not ready yet. They're coming up. We know they're coming. Like, oh, yo, that's gonna be the next. This one, we're gonna move him. He's gonna be up there. I think the coach mismanaged the Stars minutes. Like the coach is bugging out. Like, you know, he coming off an injury. You know, he need time to heal, and you threw him back on the ice too fast. Yeah. So now he got beat up in the first series, and now we dealing with an injured player. Yeah. So it's the coaching. The coaching just did Halo dirty. Like, Halo showed in that first period How he was skating up the ice.
Mm-hmm.
We was like, yo, he's back, son. One time, everything was smooth and clean. I'm telling you, coach messed this up. This the coach. Halo's still a star.
Okay.
The coach is bugging right now. And the problem is now we got to put him on the second line or the sixth or the ninth player.
Let him find his game again.
Let him find his game and figure it out while he heals up. And then we just hoping, yo, Starfield, you ready to be plugged in? You ready? Because we need you. we need you. We've been going to a lot of games now with no star. Yeah. And then here's the other thing. Let's be honest. Forza was that hot winger that was like, yo, I could take this team.
Yeah.
But you chose to start the injured Halo over him. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest. Yeah. Forza 5, Horizon 5 was ready. Halo did not need to come out.
Hey, especially when you already had 3 games with Psychonauts, Age of Empires, and Forza Horizon 5.
Forza's like, bro, I'm scoring goals, bro. Like, I'm lit. Like, why we need to make any changes? We winning games right now, right? Mm-hmm. They're like, no, he's ready to come back now. Now you put this guy, you took his spot.
Push.
Like, yeah. We did the playoff push. We sacrificed everything for the play.
You did, yeah, bro. It actually correlates perfectly.
It's a hockey analogy. Yeah.
We never really spoke about the show back in the launch window of Halo Infinite, but I now hindsight 2020, I'll never understand why they didn't push it to March with the new show, with the buzz around Halo still existing, the anticipation. Why? I feel like they put it all on the line for that early multiplayer release, really. But and that was fun. But everyone, here's the thing though, because I know a lot of people try to call us on our shit, but here's the key component to our point. Is when they launched that multiplayer early, we thought that was a statement that this part of the game has been ready. And there is shit coming because it has been ready. It's the part of the game that was steady. We knew single player was coming in hot, but we all thought, based off an early release, a month early almost, that the multiplayer was good. We were going to get maps, modes. No one thought it would be like this, where it's like, oh, we just did launch it early.
Yeah.
Which again was a great moment, but it might have hurt the whole package, really.
I agree. We bought in because
long term, by the way, I should clarify that.
Exactly.
Yeah, sorry.
Good point with the long term. Yeah. We bought in because we knew they were confident that it was just a great, smooth experience, but we didn't know that they didn't have any legs on content. Like they just got out there. And this is what happens when you get caught up with 20th anniversary, playoff push. They wanted to meet all those expectations. And
I get why, too. I don't blame them.
I get it. They just better hope they save this thing because people will fall off.
Yeah, there is definitely interest. I'm just, at the root of this, I'm curious how many people come back. I'll certainly come back.
Yeah,
I'm very interested in the campaign, where that's going to go. There's I was lukewarm on some of the story choices that some people were very, very, very happy about. But for me personally, like, I'm just curious to see where they're taking everything. And so that's the part I remain very interested in. The multiplayer I'll be around for. I hopped into it a couple of weeks ago. Like, I still dip in, but when you start to see those same maps again and again and again, this deep into the life cycle, like many others, I'm like, okay, yeah, we need something new here.
Agreed.
Next month. So we'll see that. Oh, yeah. All right, number 2 on the news. Celebrating the series' anniversary, Square Enix properly revealed Kingdom Hearts 4, the next entry in the mainline series, alongside Kingdom Hearts Missing Link, which is available only on mobile devices and is set in Scala ad Caelum. Kingdom Hearts 4, on the other hand, will be made for consoles using Unreal Engine 5, despite using Unreal Engine 4 for its reveal. The game is still early in development, as there isn't a set release window for it yet. Sora is placed in Quadratum right now, which is the real world in Kingdom Hearts, meaning he is actually dead. We received a tease that players will be heading to Endor in Star Wars for the first time ever, and a multitude of undeniable parallels have been drawn to the long-canceled Final Fantasy Versus XIII, which has transformed into Final Fantasy XV. Indeed, this is a Tetsuya Nomura video game. Beyond that, this is another game in a long list of games that were leaked via GeForce Now. Square Enix has been a big victim of this, as both Kingdom Hearts 4 and Chrono Cross were on there, as well as Final Fantasy IX Remake. Revisiting the list also shows the games such as Dragon's Dogma 2, BioShock Ray Tracing Remastered, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Half-Life 2 Remastered, Gears of War 6, and Injustice 3. Let's head over to Adam Razik, who writes in, "Hey Dukes, what's your guys' temperature on Kingdom Hearts 4? Even as a diehard fan, I'm more cautiously optimistic about it than outwardly excited. It will more than likely play really smoothly, but the story will become another insane mess of lore that can only be understood by playing the mobile games. Hope you guys have a blacked out and woke up as a Tetsuya Nomura character kind of day.
This was the topic I'm so excited to hear from you from. I really just want to show, because I'm not a Kingdom Hearts guy, but I speak to Attic, who is a Kingdom Hearts guy, and I get the real. I'm like, yo, Attic, what's the real? You know what I'm saying? And he's like, look, man, I just gotta see where this story gonna go, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? So he tells me a lot about the universe. I don't play Kingdom Hearts. That's my own issues because of the Goofy and the Disney. But I understand that makes it unique and why people love it.
Yeah.
To me, they lose me when I'm in the cutscene and I see Goofy at the side.
You don't like that?
Lose me. I'm out.
I respect. I get that.
That's just me. And Attic laughed at me. He's like, I just can't. When I see, and it's like, I can't. So that's just calm. But I reckon this series, it like half of my writers go crazy for this thing.
There's a lot of love for Kingdom Hearts, man.
Kingdom Hearts fans, I love y'all. Y'all ride or die for this game. So, Matty, I need to know how you feeling. And then 2, your man is on this. We had these discussions with Final Fantasy Remake, so I'm curious how you feeling.
Yes, Tetsuya Nomura really spearheading this one. Yeah, for some backdrop, I do not have a video of me saying Kingdom Hearts fans stand down, but I am a big Kingdom Hearts fan since I was a kid. This is one of those moments where I felt really sad because when I first saw it, I remember my reaction to Kingdom Hearts 3. I was over at my friend's house and we were watching the PlayStation E3 2013. I think it was conference, the most legendary E3 ever outside of, I think, Bethesda's 2015. Like, that was just such a stellar showcase. And there it was, Sora on Destiny Islands picking up the Keyblade. And you would have thought I was in my own home by myself the way I screamed, man. I got way too comfortable, but I didn't care, bro. My Kingdom Hearts 3 was happening. Again, that was 2013. The game came out in 2019. They had to switch engines. It was stuck in development hell when it came out. The game was way too easy. I do like Kingdom Hearts 3, but that was super flawed. And you could tell because there were moments in the story they really stopped and tried to over-explain everything because the stories become so convoluted. As everyone's heard before, there's so many games. I think there's 16 games in the series. I've played all of them. It's insane. It's wild. I don't get it. I consider myself a Kingdom Hearts fan and one who, like, I watch the Gamers Joint. I love his channel. He's a big Kingdom Hearts guy, big Square Enix guy. He breaks down all this stuff. Like, I watch him to try to put it together and just like, it's in one ear out the other at most times. I'm like, I don't get it, but I get why people ride or die for it. For me, I was sad because when I first saw Kingdom Hearts 4, I was like, okay, let's see what this is. There wasn't that initial like, oh, what is this, man? I got to check this out. Now, I will give myself a little pat on the back here. There's a video on my YouTube channel. You can look it up, Mr. Matty Plays. It's called What Kingdom Hearts 3 Needs Listen Up Square Enix. And in that video, it's about like an 8-minute video from me in like 2012. And all I'm saying, y'all, is the shit you're seeing in Kingdom Hearts 3 and 4 is stuff I've been asking for almost a decade now. So I just wanted to stroke my ego for a moment there because that's where I was with this series, man. I was seeing the future. Me and Tetsuya were on the same wavelength back then when I was in college. All right, so all in all, with Kingdom Hearts 4, this is a game that I think I just got to accept that the story isn't going to do it for me anymore. And that I just, if anything, need to replay the older ones, reconnect with what I loved about the series, which was the adventure and the characters. And with that, I'll fall in love with it because that write-up I made here for our news was not an exaggeration. Sora is considered dead, and because he's dead, he's in the real world. Tetsuya Nomura is going for this new storyline of what's called reality and unreality. I kid you fucking not.
Wow.
And the idea is unreality is the Kingdom Hearts worlds, right? So you're moving. I think it is this way. Again, pardon me if I get this wrong, but it's just so complicated. The idea is there is a world that is real, which is the one Sora's in, and there is a world that's unreality, which is the one that is like the Disney, the Pixar, all that stuff. And you might be able to flip those because, again, Sora's in the real world, but he's dead. So I don't know if that's unreality or not. Point being, though, is that is the next era in this story, right? That's the next arc, the Lost Masters arc. Kingdom Hearts 3, for all the plot points it filled in, it created new holes. And it's just a series that I think I got to be in for watching characters interact, you know, showing up and seeing Aladdin, showing up and seeing Buzz and Woody. In the case of like Endor, I'm imagining, since it's Endor, it's going to be original trilogy stuff, like seeing Luke Skywalker, seeing Han Solo, Leia, like that type of stuff. Okay, like I've been wanting that for a hot minute. There was a time that was taboo to say you wanted Pixar, to say you wanted Star Wars, to say you wanted Marvel, by the way, was someone I threw out there, Disney. To say you wanted those was just, no, we can't do that. Now, though, I think Square Enix might be onto something here where they can nail a special Kingdom Hearts game because they have in their personal canon these two segments of reality and unreality where they're like, we can do Star Wars, we can do Disney, we can do Pixar, we can maybe do Marvel, and they're going to go crazy with it. As always, Kingdom Hearts gameplay, silky smooth fun. I'm not concerned about that. What I do want to talk about, and I think you can chip into this more, Cog, because I don't want to just be the only one here.
No, you good.
Is Badly Brave writes, hey, Dukes, why can't Square help themselves from announcing games way too far in advance? With the confirmation that Kingdom Hearts 4 is only in early development, it's likely that the game is still years away. I know that these early trailers are to attract talent, and I find it hard to believe that Square's in-house divisions have trouble with that. Square specifically is infamous for this habit, and I just can't fathom the reasoning here. Thanks, boys, and I've waited 13 years for Kingdom Hearts, and it's kind of mid type of day. So I want to just add in here that this is very true. They have a bad habit of this. Not only Kingdom Hearts 3, but I talked about the connections, and I recommend, again, I'm going to shout out my boy at Gamers Join. I've worked with him in the past, hung out with him in the past. Awesome dude. Awesome Kingdom Hearts channel. And he made a video, I think it's called Kingdom Hearts 3 will embrace the canceled Final Fantasy Versus 13. And in that video, he shows endless examples, choreography, gameplay, the way Sora calls in his Keyblade. Everything about this game is taking Final Fantasy Versus 13, which was announced really far in advance around the PS3 generation, didn't come out until 2016 with Final Fantasy 15. But why I bring all of that up is, number one, to support Badly Brave's example, but really also to speak more on the fact that Square Enix, and specifically Tetsuya Nomura, has a bad habit of trying to, instead of letting Kingdom Hearts be its thing and thrive as what it was, which was this Disney Final Fantasy collaboration, he's now injecting his own missed opportunities and transforming, I think, what Kingdom Hearts is. Now, maybe that ages poorly and it ends up being great, but that's what I'm seeing here. And I think it's just a product of again, a guy who's bored. I love Tetsuya Nomura's art, but this man writes stories like he's like, yeah, I've been in the industry for 2 fucking decades. Like, what new shit can I do that's fun and amusing to me instead of passing the torch? This guy is, again, a phenomenal art director. His character designs are iconic.
Yeah, the designs.
He had his era, but I'll wait and I'll see. I'll be patient, but what frustrates me greatly is I can't right now sit here and be excited as someone who loves Birth by Sleep, loves Kingdom Hearts 2. Kingdom Hearts 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. One of my favorites of all time. Top 10 of every game I played. That's a company of KOTOR, Fallout, Sly Cooper, shit that you hear me talk about a ton.
Oh, yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 2 is in there. Like, this is not just me, old man shouting at the cloud. Like, this is a series that's lost itself. Hopefully it can find itself. One thing I do respect is they're actually going with 4. And they're not doing like a reboot or recycle, any of that. Kingdom Hearts 4, very rare to see. Okay, Cog, I want to pass it to you. I know you don't have many thoughts on Kingdom Hearts, but what do you feel about Square Enix's like announcement cycle and how they're clearly putting this one out really early?
Yeah, this is valid. This is a valid concern because you told the 2 story. I'm like, damn, dude's waited that long between 2 and 3. That's crazy. Where I'm linked now is because of my Final Fantasy VII Remake love. And the consensus in my community is that, yo, how is he gonna do this? Like you just did the Intergrade, which we did Yuffie, you know, and we did the shout out to Colin and Hogue and Attic we had, and we did the Sacred Symbols Plus for that one. But it's like, how many years is this story going to get done? Like, think about it. They haven't even scratched the surface of everything they're supposed to do in Final Fantasy VII to get that game complete and then break this up. We still haven't gotten to part 2 or when the announcement is going to be. So if I'm waiting this long, what the hell are you doing for Kingdom Hearts fans? You know what I'm saying? So I'm with you. Like, I'm like, this is so far away for you guys. Like, it almost is like, pardon the expression, is like blue balls. Like what I'm doing is gonna be like waiting. How old are we gonna be?
I just feel like they're trying to create this Square Enix multiverse because no spoilers, but Kingdom Hearts 3 is already crossing over worlds. Final Fantasy VII Remake is already doing timeline shit. Stranger of Paradise is fucking with timeline stuff. Like everything. And I also have a friend who's really into Final Fantasy 14, and stuff from Stranger of Paradise is apparently making its way into a new patch. I think it was like 6.1 or something like that. So they're doing this like wild multiverse cross collaboration here. And I just feel like that's where things are going. And it's going to contaminate all of these series instead of like, in the case, it was just Kingdom Hearts that was fucked up. And now I'm like afraid, is it going to reach into Final Fantasy and the remakes? How is that all going to work? I don't know. But I didn't mean to interrupt you if you had more to say.
No, my last point is like, yo, what is the timeline of completion for these games? Because that's what seems way off for me. And the fact that this one man is really, I shouldn't say one, because he has a team, there's other people working on it, but it feels like he is the spearhead of most of these. So you know what it reminds me of? Like Game of Thrones fans with, what's his face? Was it R. Martin?
Oh, George R. Martin, yeah.
Like, bro, like they couldn't even finish the books were still being made. Like, that's why I feel Tetsuya is at. Like, he's that for these universes. And I don't know if he can create enough in time that sensical and people are going to agree with to finish both of these series. And that's how I feel about, Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's been 3 years since Kingdom Hearts 3. And I just... The other thing that bothers me is the showing of really early gameplay. I know they want to give fans something, but for example, when Sora's using his Keyblade grappling hook, which by the way is an awesome idea, never thought of that, really excited about that. Kingdom Hearts uses these things, for those who never played it before, called reaction commands. It'll say on the bottom left, like triangle, it'll have a name for that command. You'll press it, something will happen. To me, it was so clear that was just a chain of reaction commands during a boss fight. And they hid the HUD and they're presenting it like it's real gameplay. I will eat crow if I'm wrong, but they did this as well with Kingdom Hearts 3. They announced it. Sora's running through Traverse Town, this cinematic gameplay. He's attacking a flood of Heartless, unlike anything we've ever seen in any Kingdom Hearts game. This was at the birth of the PS4. We're like, yo, Kingdom Hearts 4 or 3 is gonna deliver. That's gonna be the fights that we dreamed of, right? There's this fight in Kingdom Hearts 2 called the Battle of 1,000 Heartless, and it's insane. Like, you see a sea of Heartless, and in the heart of it, you're fighting like 20 at once. And to see that be like a common encounter in that reveal, you're like, yo, this is crazy. And then 3 comes around, it's not even close to that. It's not even close to that. And now you're seeing this with 4. It's like you're riding through buildings, sliding around, you're fucking whipping things around, you're jumping off of lampposts. I'm like, this is not gonna be how you're gonna play. I guarantee it's not. That was a reaction command presented as gameplay. I'm sorry, I've seen it too many times from these guys. It's a reaction command.
That vertical slice, baby.
Woo!
I feel you.
They're as bad as Ubisoft sometimes, man. They really are.
I feel y'all fade. I'm gonna be. Y'all got me so interested. I don't even care. I'm so interested.
Oh, it's fun to watch, right? Yeah, it's fun to watch. From
great. It's great.
I'm curious what Dustin's thoughts are. I've talked to him about maybe doing an episode with him on.
Y'all need to do that. That has to happen.
Yeah. Probably Sacred Symbols Plus, but we'll see. Number 3, SEGA announced a partnership this year with Xbox to use their Azure cloud tech to power what they call their super game. Now we have more details on what that may actually be. For starters, SEGA executive VP Shuji Utsumi explained that Super Game is actually multiple titles in development using the same framework. SEGA is vowing these will be blockbusters beyond the conventional game experience. Further explaining, Shuji Utsumi, God, I can't talk right now, had this to say.
Good.
For example, in the past, people who played games were called gamers, but now watching games has become a culture in itself, and such people could no longer be called gamers. I think there is great potential in the relationship between people who play and watch games. We are thinking of creating new entertainment within these possibilities. Scarily, SEGA may have pointed to things going in a certain direction many would not want to see this ominous super game go toward, which is NFTs. SEGA producer Masayoshi Kikuchi had this to say, quote, It is a natural extension for the future of gaming that it will expand to involve new areas such as cloud gaming and NFT. We are also developing Super Game from the perspective of how far different games can be connected to each other, end quote. While registering a trademark for SEGA NFT, SEGA CEO Haruki Satomi spoke transparently on the subject, quote, in terms of NFT, we would like to try out various experiments, and we have already started many different studies and considerations, but nothing is decided at this point regarding pay to earn. There have been many announcements about this, including overseas, but there are users who are showing negative reactions at this point. We need to carefully assess many things, such as how we can mitigate the negative elements, how much we can introduce this within the Japanese regulation, what will be accepted and what will not be by the users. Then we will consider this further if this leads to our mission, constantly creating, forever captivating. But if it is perceived as simple money making, I would like to not proceed with the decision. Sega Sammy said in November of 2021 that it might invest $882 million into the Super Game over the next 5 years. Cog, this is one of those things that I read and I feel like I know as much as when I began. Do you feel the same way? Like, what is this thing, man?
Now it's okay, multiple titles, not just one title.
Why was it singular, right? Why was it a super game?
Super game, yeah. So it's just like, I guess, the lack of plural, maybe the translation got lost. But yeah, I definitely were all over the place on what this is. Obviously they're partnering with Azure. We know the whole spiel behind it, but now I'm concerned. Yeah, now I'm like, all right, so it's multiple titles. Now you really getting into this NFT bag. Gamers don't like to hear this stuff. Gamers don't want to hear about how excited you are for your NFT aspirations. And, they're saying, we got to make sure from a regulatory standpoint and, the money making. And look, people just care about the games. And if the game does not look good and then you start pumping this NFT stuff down people's throat, who's those from what's those guys that had the Xbox exclusive, that Stalker?
Oh yeah.
They start talking about it as soon as the word got out. So I'm curious to see how that market receives it. Maybe the market's different. Maybe, maybe we here in the West, we overblow it. I gotta see. I just want to know what one of the multiple games of Super Games is. Mm-hmm. Can we get one? I want to know what that is.
I imagine if it's a 5-year thing, we should be relatively soon hearing about one of multiple games. And I don't know if they're supposed to be connected. They mentioned a framework, right? We know Azure Tech is powering it, so we imagine this is a cloud-based development tool that they are using. But beyond that, they're saying that this is going to reach beyond conventional game experiences. It's weird because Sega's in a really good spot right now, by the way. But they're talking almost like Kojima at the same time, where he's talking about like strand game, new genre, because it's not really like anything else. And I don't know, thanks to Kojima, I read those things and I'm like, yeah, I'm sure I'll still use the controller the same way. I'll play the game the same way. I'll run the same way. I'll interact with things the same way. I don't think you're going to change the actual video game experience, fundamentally speaking. So this sounds like they bring up specifically watching games. Do you think like they're doing cloud-based development? Do you think they're making like a live service title of some kind? That would be my assumption.
It's a good catch. That's a good catch. I forgot about that portion, which is, they're very concerned about the watching and from my understanding, like the streaming thing. So some type of integration on that level, do they have their own, what's the word? Like, a Twitch equivalent, where people come on to use Azure for, Azure, for some type of backbone for some secondary platform that's a streaming platform that they want to merge into the game and then create engagement. And then now they get into the NFT bag and they get into the viewership bag. So maybe that's what their aspiration is this live service thing combined with it. So, the game's got to be good. None of this doesn't matter,
right?
Yeah, like none of this. Like you better be Overwatch 1 level. You better be you better, whatever it is, it has to hit to warrant that. Because my fear and why I'm now disinterested, because sometimes when you starting to put the cart before the horse and you start worrying about the possibilities of how much you could monetize and game first, quality game first, label it super quality game.
Not just super game, super quality game.
Super quality game. Then you got me, going in, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's just interesting to see them speaking like this, because I like where their CEO's head is at, which is like, look, if you want to explore that space in a way that will not contaminate your overall team vision, which is like you want to create first and not be viewed as just money scheming, I respect that. That's actually kind of rare to see a CEO speak like that.
True.
I look at where Sonic is at right now. Sonic is in a really good spot. I look at how much that's growing. They got to be thrilled about that. Their company's value is just
phenomenal.
Yeah, what's up?
I heard the movie is doing phenomenal.
Yeah, I've heard as well.
I haven't seen it.
I'm excited for Frontiers, which I didn't think I'd be saying, but I played a lot of Sonic in the last year, man. I don't know what happened to me. I'm a shell of my former self, but Sonic's doing well. Persona is bigger than it's ever been. You got those underrated ones like Football Manager, Yakuza, bigger than it's ever been. Like everything they're doing is on the up and up. And then you got little Atlas experiments like Aegis 13, what is it called? 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. Like you got little titles like that popping out with Vanillaware involved. Like they're in a really good spot as a publisher. It's why we always say like Xbox, knock on their door, see what's up, see if you can get something done there. Cause that would be such an exciting get for them. That's a company that is absolutely like, they've always been a mainstay since the Dreamcast, right? But they have been on the rise, Cog. So they've been indicating this for a while. I remember when Sega tell me if you remember this, because I can never find the commercial again, but remember they were teasing like a big announcement and the reveal was like the logo alongside someone's eyeball, and you saw the Sega logo form there in real time, and they were like talking about like a new chapter or something like that. Do you remember?
Sounds familiar.
I feel like they've done this in the past, so I'm also trying not to blow it up in my head. Like they're probably just working on a lot of games under this new cloud infrastructure, and they are what they are at the end of the day.
It could be. I'm curious. This is the one we got to monitor. Yeah,
we'll see. But they did say that they're not doing exclusives because Xbox helped them out. So whatever it is, everyone will be enjoying it.
As long as it's where Game Pass exists.
Yes, that too. Number 4. After the state of California took the battle to Activision Blizzard last year, we now have a shocking turn of events on how far-reaching Activision's power truly is. Reported by Jason Schreier of Bloomberg, a top lawyer for the state of California has resigned, accusing the governor's office of interfering with the discrimination lawsuit. Melanie Proctor, the assistant chief counsel of the California's Department of Fair Employment and Housing, or DFEH, in case you see that again on Twitter or something, you'll know what it's referring to, sent an email to staff saying that she was resigning to protest the fact that her boss at the agency, Chief Counsel Jeanette Whipper, had been abruptly fired by the governor of California, Gavin Newsom. Proctor states that this has been ongoing in recent weeks and that they have begun, as they began to win in state court, that the interference increased, representing the interests of Activision's counsel. Cock, what do you feel about this, man? Another surprise left turn in this windy case known as the Activision versus State of California lawsuit.
Bro, this is the wildest situation I've ever seen. Like every week you're getting some new information, and it's just like, shout out to Hogue. He's got a great video on this right now. Honestly, bro, like this is like so deep down the rabbit hole of potential corruption and influence, and like, where are we going? You got somebody on the state of California that could vouch and try to make things happen for you, and it's crazy, like, man. What's happening right now? Look, my thing right now, see how this play out. All I care about is how does this affect the deal? How does this affect it? Does this negatively affect the deal? Does this that's where I'm at with it right now, because it's just to the point where it's just like, I don't know what to make of what's going. I will say this: it just shows me how deep Robert's hand, how strong Robert's hand may have been. You know what I'm saying?
Like far-reaching hand, man. The governor of California is fucking crazy.
and you got them, but then that doc's potential bribe. Look the other. This thing getting deep. The rabbit hole gets deeper, bro.
Mhm.
It gets deeper. We're gonna see more.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. It's much of what you said is my feelings. It's just very, very surprising to see how far reaching the hand of Robert is. And so hopefully justice reigns supreme here and that the right thing is done. But we will see. And I'm sure there will be updates on that in the coming weeks.
Yep, I agree.
Number 5. Vicarious Visions, the developer responsible for the fastest selling Tony Hawk game, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 Remake, as well as Crash Insane Trilogy, which surpassed 10 plus million copies sold, is no longer. After being relegated to a support studio for Activision Blizzard to focus on their games, the team has now confirmed they will be merging with Blizzard and no longer will be known as Vicarious Visions. This is a studio that was founded in the 90s and is legendary team, man. And now they're just a part of Activision Blizzard. Dude, if I'm Phil, first order of fucking business. First order of business. Hold everything up. Walk into that building, change their name. Undo the merging. Change it. I don't care, man. You can't let this be. This is not the way they go down, is the merging. I could even respect EA for how they gutted Visceral Games. They died as Visceral Games, right? That's it. They died with their name, right? They didn't become EA, whoever the fuck. They remained Visceral. Yes, they remained Visceral and went down as Visceral, just as Vicarious Visions. Dude, here's the thing. I just can't wrap my head around. If this was a team that was struggling, not putting much out, I'd get it. But they did milestones on the 2 games they made. 10 plus million copies sold for Insane Trilogy. That's a pretty important feat. Let's work on more Crash. Instead, they give it to Toys for Bob, who did Crash 4, and they did a great job. But then you got Tony Hawk. It's like, okay, let's remake 3 and 4. We got Underground as well. This is the fastest selling Tony Hawk game ever in a long-running, very popular series that sold millions and millions of copies. Nope, not that either. Go work on fucking Overwatch or whatever this upcoming hero shooter thing that they're doing is. I mean, no slander against the unannounced projects, but seriously, I just saw this and was really disappointed in the rumors being true here. Do you feel the same, Cog?
The only way my opinion changes is if, they somehow benefit employee-wise. I mean, we did hear, I know this is completely unrelated, but I mean, it's related, but it's not related. Where the QA testers became full-time employees, and you know what I'm saying? Like, if they're going to get a bag and they getting options and benefits or something that as a result of losing your name and being merged into the culture, but other than that, I'm kind of with you in a sense. Like, it just seems weird, that they have to lose their individuality. Like, what's the determination? Why did that need to happen is my curiosity. And I got connection again with Destiny, a big Destiny fan. They made some outstanding expansion content for Destiny to help out Bungie. They were another one. And I met people from Vicarious Visions, very cool people, like awesome relationships. So I just want to make sure that they are getting what they deserve. Mm-hmm. I'll get over the name change only for that. Other than that, it's like, why can't they just be who they are? Like, especially if
unless
Robert
they wanted this, right? I mean, I guess
unless that's possible, what I'm saying. Right? That's what I'm saying. Maybe we don't have the full scope, and internally, it's like, look, we know you're Vicarious. Here's your new contract, base pay, bennies. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And now we're going to be this unified family or whatever. And I'm curious about the other studios that's a part of them. You know what I'm saying? The Ravens and the High Moons. Is that going to happen? Are they just going to be one big thing? Maybe it's a consolidation thing. I don't know. My worry, though, is with you is just that a lot of these studios have individuality in history of their own titles that are great. And the fear is if they lose the name, that means we don't get those titles no more.
They said that the idea behind this is the report says that it was for them to continue to support Activision Blizzard games. And so they're not going to be working on their IP. That's for damn sure.
Which I struggle with because remember, part of the allure of being acquired was that, you're going to get to maintain individuality. You won't have to be forced in the Call of Duty sweatshop, right? No more Call of Duty sweatshop. You're out. So what happens? I don't know what's going on here. I need more detail.
Yeah. Just really disappointing at face value for sure. And I think this is kind of like an Occam's razor type of moment where it's the simple reality is the best, or I know it's simplest solution is the best one, but I'm more so saying that like what we see is the truth, which I think is that Vicarious Visions has been just relegated as a support studio and they're not working on their own IP anymore. And I can't imagine a lot of their staff is thrilled about that, but we'll see.
I hope not. Damn.
All right, number 6. Today in the weeb world, Shueisha, home of the legendary weekly Shonen Jump, has opened a brand new division for gaming. This is the company behind the world's most iconic anime, One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, Hunter x Hunter, Dragon Ball, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and many, many more. Heading the company's game production management is Masami Yamamoto, formerly of PlayStation's Japan studio. Famitsu reports that the newly found division wishes to create and release games for consoles, PC, and smart devices. The company will also be involved in the creation of analog games like card and board games. And by the way, they just recently announced a One Piece card game, so I believe work has already started on that front. Stephen Richard writes in, my Dukes, boy, do I got a galaxy brain concept brewing this week. So about a week or so ago, manga publisher Shueisha announced that they are creating a game studio, Shueisha Games, as it will be known. I'm assuming, not sure if it's 100% confirmed or not, they will have the rights to all of their most known franchises such as Naruto, One Piece, Hunter x Hunter, and plenty more. In doing this, they will have the option to make canon games either furthering the plots or going back and remaking content. Here's where the Jimmy Neutron brain blast moment comes in. The newly announced One Piece game is a story that isn't canon. However, as someone watching it for the first time, I can only see the possibility for an RPG game with the characters from the show following their story. Choosing who you take with you to certain islands, squad, and missions, and being able to freely travel to Grand Line in search of the One Piece. This is the type of game I could imagine for the likes of Naruto as well, going on missions with other ninjas as a younger Naruto, building the friendship level with the characters we know and love, and then moving with the same story we grew up watching. Some people don't like the idea of another media type redoing what's been established, but considering the new studio and the IP they have under them, I can only believe we as an audience would get better than most of the B-rated anime adaptations that we've come to expect, unfortunately. Sorry, Cog, as this is more weeb. This is more for the weeb and Matty, but would love to hear what you think of this, considering potentially how you could experience these stories for the first time. Hope you have the best damn day you've had this week. Nothing too ambitious, of course. Cog, of course you're the guy for this, right? What do you think of Shueisha Games and the potential of experiencing all these great anime for the first time through video games? Do you feel more open to Naruto or Hunter x Hunter, perhaps, if it was in video game format?
I know what you're doing here.
I saw you playing apparently Persona 5 Royal, by the way. I saw what was happening there. I meant to say this at the front of the show so everyone got the scoop. What happened there?
It's just, just dabbling and just seeing, just checking things out.
How long did you hang around there for?
Just for an hour or two. I'm window shopping. I'm preparing myself for what I'm about to see. Hopefully, with Xbox and Atlas, what the hell's going on?
I didn't know you owned the game. You bought and owned it?
Yeah. Oh, I'm waiting. I'm just waiting.
You're waiting for Game Pass. You're seeing what's up. Okay.
I'm just waiting.
Okay.
I'm just waiting. They actually, to be honest with you, they bought it for me. They got tired of me. And then it's like, no, we won't.
That Elden Ring.
Yeah. You know how they do. Like, I don't know what people have this thing with me where if I take a stance, then I'm like, I'm cool. I'm good.
Yeah, you chill about it. I'm the same way, man. They can't stand it.
Can't stand it. They like, what do you mean you're chill? What do you mean you're not going to play the thing that everybody else is playing? Yeah. And I'm like, no, I'm good. You guys go ahead. And they're like, nope. Check your account. And I'm like, oh my God, you really? And then it's in my thing. And I'm like, damn it. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, you got no excuse now. What's up? That's what they do. I get bullied into playing stuff all the time. But anyway, so look, I'm going to surprise you.
Okay.
This is actually, I think, is a really cool thing. And this is, they got to appeal to guys like me. And this is where it comes in. And to me, the number one thing you do is like, all this Shonen Jumps. I've heard the terms. I know a lot of these. One Piece, I heard amazing. All this stuff I've heard. Yeah. Exact. I've heard great things. So my thing is, now, you make a cool adaptation game, and them graphics is looking fire, and the gameplay looking tight. Then I'm gonna come to you. I'm gonna hit you with the attic, like, yo, what's that? So tell me the story on this. What's going on? And then you give me the back. Then you get me in. You know what I'm saying? So to me, if the game looks fire and it presents well, Now you got me interested. Then you sneak me in the back door. Now I might be wanting to watch what's going on. I've gotten to some games just like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where I didn't know anything. And I was like, yo, that, whatever that is, that game, like put it this way. Let's just say Astral Chain was based on a real anime.
Oh, I wish.
Now you would have got me. I'm like, yo, what's this? And they got the links with the chain and the animal. And you'd have been like, yeah, that's Shonen Jump 5. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm just making it. Like, that's how you get me. Good gameplay, presents well, a little bit of graphical fidelity, good adaptation, throw some story beats, throw some anime beats. Now COG is interested. I did try a couple of them Dragon Ball Z, that one of them Dragon Ball Z fighting games. I was like, I covered it at E3. And I was like, yo, this is fire.
Dragon Ball FighterZ is incredible.
I was like, this is fire. I was like, I don't know any character here besides the main ones. But I was like, this is a good game. And I commentated. And I was getting into I got the people fighting each other, getting into it. They were like, yo, you got us hyped. Like, that's one of my best performing videos is me not knowing anything about anime, commentating two people fighting the debut of it on I think it was a Switch release too.
Oh.
Yeah, it was fire. That was one of my favorite on the spot convention videos. I'll send it to you. It people love that video. They were like, "Yo, you need to do this permanently because you are hilarious." I could see
you being a good like game caster. I could see that.
I'm great with it. I didn't realize it's a talent I have. Like I get into it. So I
trip up on my thoughts way too much to have like the stream of consciousness that's some of these like Gary Cohen, Sam Rosen, like the ability just to talk over the game, right? And they're just like not tripping up once. I'm like, how do you not mix their names up or anything like that? I don't know. Maybe I got ADHD or something like that, but it's just I can see you have that talent for sure.
I love it. I tell people all the time, I love podcasting, but I love being at a convention, live gameplay, or interviewing devs. I'll take that over anything. That's like my number one passion. But 100%. This is how you get me in. This type of stuff, good adaptation games, COG will definitely check you out.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this is the start of the loosening of a grip from Bandai. I like Bandai a lot. They do publish a lot of great games, but their anime games are all the fucking same 3D arena fighters, One Punch Man, My Hero, Dragon Ball, even. It doesn't matter what your popularity is. They all follow a similar framework. That's why I'm very excited. This is also by Bandai. They're doing a game called One Piece Odyssey, and it looks like a open world turn-based RPG. And One Piece is great, man. So this looks... Here, I'll link you the trailer. I had it up while you were talking, but you started talking Astro Chain.
Link to that.
Yeah, well, you started talking... Like Astro Chain, I was like, oh, he's looking for something more original. But here, I linked it to you. You can check that out. It looks really great. And I'm hoping that's kind of where we're heading now is more original. Like these anime is all over TikTok, YouTube, Twitter. Gamers are talking about it. People who are not into gaming are talking about it. Like anime has reached the mainstream officially. It's not just the big ones. Like now Demon Slayer is huge, and that's a new one. Attack on Titan is huge. That is older, but like it's really peaked in popularity through social media throughout its recent seasons. Like it's no longer the niche thing that's sitting in the corner that no one can get into, right? I think the time is now to start making some games that represent that. It's just too infrequent. You know, you get something like Attack on Titan. Their video games are, I love the AOT games, man, because they're like this mixture of the Muso games, but you're cutting the nape of the neck of these Titans. And it's so fun. It feels so good. They capture the show beautifully. No game plays like an Attack on Titan game. That's what you got to be looking for, because anime is so unique because they all take like one idea and you're like, I've never seen that before. I'm going to watch that. And some games have the ability to make it playable. One of my biggest disappointments of last year was easily Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is my favorite shit, dude. And Demon Slayer, the Kimetsu no Yaiba, the Hinokami Chronicles, that 3D fighter, it's just more of that, man. It's more of what we've seen. So I'm hoping that there's, these series are too popular where like, there's also hope maybe that beyond reinventing some of them, you could get Hunter x Hunter some activity. Hunter x Hunter is like a dead anime and has been dead for like a decade now. Okay. Story's incomplete. People want to know what happens next. It ends in a spot where people are happy, but there's room for more. Hunter x Hunter is a game that if you made a canon game, say, hey, we're continuing after the events of the Chimera Ant arc, people would flip a shit. This is like that anime that stands the test of time, right? People are still linking clips, still talking about it, how good it was. I think I'm not crazy about it. I think it's good. I'm not in love with it, but like Hunter x Hunter is a game that if you said we're doing a game continuing the story, people would arrive in masses. 100%, bro. People have been asking for that. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, instead of doing a 2.5D fighter, like more try different things is what I'm saying beyond just the fighting game. Because what Steven Richard brought up here, he mentioned, I can imagine for Naruto going on missions with other ninjas as a younger Naruto, building friendship levels with the characters we know and love, and then moving along with the same story we grew up watching. What you're describing, Steven, is Naruto Uzumaki Chronicles. This was a PS2 game, and it was an excellent one at that. That is exactly what you just described. You'd play as Naruto, you'd accept missions at the bounty board, if you will. You'd go around this kind of map, and missions would be located on different dots on the map. And it would be instead of a fighting game like all these anime games are, it'd be a 3D beat 'em up with combos, RPG systems, progression. And there would actually be missions that if you failed, it would change outcomes of the story. And
that's dope.
Yeah, it was awesome. It's one of my favorite anime games growing up. I love the Uzumaki Chronicle games more than I like the Ultimate Ninja games. And this was during a time where, again, anime was smaller. It was taboo, if you will. So I feel like Shueisha has a really good opportunity here to do something unique. Dragon Ball will do Dragon Ball things, man. They're doing this fucking what's the starts with an A. The type of multiplayer game where you play as the villain versus 7 other people.
Oh, I know it.
Not asynchramatic. I can't think of the.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Like you talk about almost in like that 5v1.
Yeah, right. Like an Evolve.
Like an Evolve style.
There's a term for it that's slipping my head right now.
I don't like that type of
thing. But they're doing that for Dragon Ball. I'm like, okay, it's Dragon Ball. It's big. At least they're doing something different though, right? At least they're doing something different. May not be for me, but that's something different. True. I'm hoping that that's where this will all go because they do have the power to do what Lucasfilm does, where they say like, hey, we got these great IP. We're going to nurture relationships. We're going to talk to Respawn and have them do an FPS. We're going to talk to Aspire. You've been porting all our old Star Wars games. Here's KOTOR. Remake it, right? So on and so forth. Shueisha has a really good opportunity here. I hope they don't blow it, and I hope we get finally a golden era of true anime video games because it's it's something not enough people talk about. I'm very passionate about it because it's like these shows rock, and I feel like they would only grow more if they got better games, not games that were flashy representations of the show that were mindless.
You're on fire. I think that's exactly why that's the problem. I think that's exactly why I haven't connected. I completely agree with you with the Bandai Namco thing that look, it was crazy. I love them, but it's like, it's like everything is this. They're in a rut with everything is this fighter kind of thing, and it's over the top. And then what really hit me when Jump Force didn't do well.
Jump Force was terrible.
Terrible.
I bought that game day one. I was disappointed.
I was there for the launch. I was like, oh, anime fans gonna go crazy. And people are like, nah, cock, it ain't it. I'm like, wow. Yeah. So it goes, and then, even though this is not a one-to-one comparison, I look at something like the Harry Potter joint. I am not a Harry Potter in the least. Like I'm just not into it.
Beautiful example.
So look at that. I'm like, oh, I'm in. Mm-hmm. I'm in. I want to do all that. That's gonna get me into that universe. Mm-hmm. It just showed what, and you give other devs the opportunity with the properties. You know what I'm saying? Marvel's doing a better job of it. Now you see in WB. Yes. That's what anime has to do. We gotta. Namco, we love you, but we got to let these IPs breathe other places and give them in different genres, and that's how you're going to get it to pop.
Yeah, I agree. Bandai's done a great job, but we can't keep handing them everything. That's the problem. Let them focus on Dragon Ball. They've done a pretty good job with. Sure, keep doing that. Like, give them a handful of them, but not everything, man. We can't keep going through them. We can't.
Yep. Good point.
All right, number 7. Just a lot of day one on Game Pass games that decorate a pretty fun month upcoming for Xbox, and I just wanted to highlight it here. Bugsnax is dropping day one for Xbox, by the way. It's already been out on PS Plus when the PS5 launched, but day one for Xbox, April 28th. It's also getting an Isle of Big Snacks expansion, which will be free, a part of it. So that's April 28th. Bugsnax arrives on Game Pass. Then on May 5th, we get both Citizen Sleeper and Trek to Yomi. I know you're excited for that one, Cog. On May 10th, Eden Chronicle Rising. This is not 100 Heroes. This is not the JRPG turn-based game that we're all really excited for. That will be day one, by the way. Rising is a side-scrolling beat-em-up spin-off prequel kind of game that's being
Mhm.
made by a different team. So just know
Yes.
that is completely separate. That'll be available
Correct.
on May 10th. Then I think the big one, Sniper Elite 5, day one, that's been announced for a while, May 26th. And the day after, Pac-Man Museum Plus, May 27th, day one as well. So, Cog, how are you feeling about this upcoming lineup? We've said for a while, like, get that big one, get that big AAA game, day one, single player game, mind you. But I think in the conversation there, I admitted this in my video, I kind of lost the picture on the power of quantity for day one and just having bang, bang, bang. And the home that indies are finding, that AA
Yeah.
is finding here on Game Pass, it
Yeah.
makes you think a bit about that price change in a different light and where we could end up where when people start paying more, they're going to expect more. And right now we're in a really good spot where I'm happy to see a Bugsnax. I'm happy to see a Trek to Yomi. I'm happy to see Sniper Elite 5. Will that same enthusiasm occur when post Activision we're seeing, $15 a month and we're still getting this type of output? That's obviously in the eye of the beholder, but what do you feel about this current slate of games coming up for Game Pass?
I think these are great. These are great double A. Like you said, it's quality. It's a quantity of double A games that people really are excited for. My writers, they go crazy. Shout out to See You and Chris Jones. Like he is Ayuden Chronicle.
Yeah.
Psh, he goes crazy for this game. Like and
Looks so
and
good.
and the original makers of it from made the game that I used to love from Konami back in the day, which is I always
Suikoden?
pronounce code Suikoden.
Mhm.
You always pronounce it. I always butcher it.
Got you.
Suikoden was my joint. I played 1 and 2. Finished those. I love.
You
That
beat
was when
Suikoden too. I've never played it.
Yes.
That's what I want to do for Retro Rebound.
Oh, bro, that's a JRPG. That was when COG was JRPG all
Yeah,
day.
that was an era. Konami,
That was an
Squaresoft,
era. Yeah. And that was the one. It's called the 108 stars, and it's literally 108 for people you could actually recruit. The story was phenomenal. 2 was great as well. I finished both games, 1 and 2. This is my PS1. People don't realize why I have such a love for PlayStation 1. PlayStation is responsible, really. Before that, I mean, I say Sega with Phantasy Star, but
that's another one I haven't played. Fantasy Star, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I'll give you the JRPG education.
Dude, I'm listening, man. I can't have enough JRPGs in my life. Go for it.
Phantasy Star 2, arguably the GOAT. 3, they tried to do some marriage system in the character story. 4 was a rebound, was phenomenal. So that started part 1 on Master System. Oh my God. Oh, chef's kiss. Excuse me. So we had 1, 2, 4, 3, Now, when I got a PlayStation, obviously, Final Fantasy was the one that kicked me off. And then from there, I was just everything, Star Oceans, and this, and that, it's the code, and I couldn't get enough. I was like, JRPGs, this is this new thing, and I'm buying them all. When Cock had time, Cock was younger.
Yeah.
so that's what it was. But Ayuden is a spawn from the legendary creator of Suikoden. Yes. So obviously, you said it best. This is going to be a precursor, different style of game. But from what the devs are saying, you're going to learn a lot about the story, and you're going to get character development and decisions and people that's going to introduce themselves, that's going to set up the next game. So it's a big one. So yeah, I just think this is a great lineups. And Trek to Yomi, that's all me.
Yes,
right there.
it is.
I'm all the way. And you talk about Samurai. You talking about a little bit of Ghost of Tsushima vibes, a little bit of Bushido Blade, PlayStation 1, which is a favorite, unique title no one gives credit for, Bushido Blade. And that's what that game reminds me of, a combination of both of those. I am all the way in. So I'm happy.
I'm going to surprise you on this one. I'm right there with you. Trek to Yomi, Sniper Elite 5, of course. Like, I love Sniper Elite. Eden Chronicle, I'm just kind of like chilling back, like, will this surprise me or not? But I gotta be real, the one I really want to check out is Bugsnax.
I was wondering.
Yeah, I do have it on my PlayStation 5. I just never got around to it. Now it's here on Game Pass. I'm like, okay, it's a refresh in my mind. Like, let me download it, give it a shot. Because I heard this game gets dark. And I don't know what actually happens, but I want to know so badly. And it looks like a fun little Pokemon Snap type of game where you're just like catching food instead. I don't know. It seems very fun, but then the idea that it can get dark is something that I'm like, I'm really keen on finding out how dark.
This is your Dragon sensibilities coming in. You already know. You already know where this goes. I know what you throw cutesy, then you throw us a dark twist.
Yeah.
Oh, people get murdered and killed. Matty's in.
Actually, yeah, that's
that is you.
I can't deny that. Yeah.
I feel you.
Wow, you know me too fucking well. That's scary.
I respect it, but it's fun though. There's a funness.
Subverted expectations work well on me.
Yeah, it's hilarious when you come in expecting one thing and you're like, "Yo, why is this bear murdering people? What's going on? People, what's happening?" Like it does open up, and I do get you on that. So it's funny, and I will say this, not to stoke fanboy stuff, but I do find it interesting that a lot of these PlayStation launch games, like it feels like the time exclusive window is over because now you got Bugsnax now entering Game Pass. Now, even though the second one is not Game Pass, you saw Godfall is on Xbox.
Yeah, that doesn't exist to me.
I know that, but it's just interesting. Remember, these were touted as exclusive PlayStation 5 kind of launch titles. So I just thought that was interesting. But on the flip side, we've seen the same thing for, some games on, we had our boy Graham Smith just announced, his game on PS4, Death's Door, we see with 3 months exclusive kind of go, or we're seeing like crossover, who bought what exclusivity for what time end.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting.
The one that always sticks out to me is the Ascent. The Ascent lasted for a while before it came to PlayStation, longer than most indies on Xbox. So I think Xbox saw something in that for sure. And I don't know if it did as well as they thought it would. I'm curious to know because I hope they do a sequel for that. I really do.
I want a sequel so bad. Like I remember kicking and scratching going into that spoiler cast. And
I made you cry through that.
I kind of like it. I kind of want a sequel to improve the things I got an issue with. That I'm gonna love it.
Yep. All right. Well, that's all the news we got for this week. Certainly a fun week of different topics to go through. Now we turn our attention to Game Pass / Back Compat Pick of the Week. Ooh. I'm up this week, and I chose a game that I talked about earlier in the show, Weird West.
Break it down. I'm hearing a lot of good things.
Yeah, so this is from the mind of Rafael Colantonio, one of the main heads that was formerly of Arcane. So if you like Prey, you like some of the weird stuff that you saw in that game, you're going to like this. Weird West prides itself on being an immersive sim. Its camera is very isometric. It's kind of like Divinity and Wasteland. So when I saw that and I saw the mines, I was like, I got to try this out eventually. I was really excited diving into it. I'm very happy that Game Pass exists for this one. It's not one I love. The first chapter, I'll just say this. The first chapter, there's a lot of, as the name would suggest, weird stuff happening out in the Wild West. You're seeing some Cthulhu elements. You're seeing some out-of-body experiences while you're running around bounty hunting and stuff. Very cool, rich world space. This story is split up across 5 characters. They say it's about a 40-hour game. I don't know how accurate that is. I finished the first story in about 5 hours, and I did a lot of the side content. It probably could have taken me 3 hours if I wanted. I got to the second one. And I'll just say you play as someone else. I don't want to say who, but the first one you play as a bounty hunter. The second one you play as a obscure race, I'll say, that is scorned by humanity. And so the way the world responds to you is different. So now Weird West goes from this isometric twin stick shooter to a stealth game. And it's a bad stealth game.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So it starts to really fight with itself. It's a game that it wants to be everything within its own genre, mind you, but it doesn't have the systems to support that. So what was kind of fun about the stealth was taking a barrel, moving it, climbing up some buildings and breaking the game, if you will. But I'll admit, maybe it's because I play a lot of Divinity and a lot of Wasteland 3 and never had that feeling of like do anything quite.
Okay.
You know, for a game that prides itself on being an immersive sim, there wasn't many immersive sim elements. Like the most I could really think of doing was, here's an explosive barrel. I'll kick it. I'll shoot a fireball at it or something that will blow up. And if it's near a lamp with oil in it, that will spread it. Right. That's kind of the immersive qualities of like, you see it, you can interact with it. But beyond that, it was just an isometric light RPG that took you through a really wacky Wild West world. I like aspects of it. I don't plan on finishing it though. But I can also see why people would really like this. Again, the world, the storytelling, like I know Carrick loves this
Yeah,
game. I saw him going
he goes
hard for it.
hard for this.
Yeah, I know he loves this game. For me, I can see why, because I've podcasted with him for years. I can tell why he loves this game, right? It's very crunchy in certain areas, and I know he likes that type of stuff. Like, I know he loves like Piranha Bytes, and he loves Elix One. Like, he's all about those types of games. This game has a lot of that energy. Like, if you can look past its flaws, you can get past its hurdles. There's a lot here worth loving. Like the voice actor who does the kind of, it's all not voice acted, by the way. Like, you're just reading through a ton of dialogue that's happening. So that means some cutscenes are a little bit awkward. But when you go through certain like story segments, this raspy Southerner speaks over what's happening. He's like, the hairs on your neck stand up. And it adds so much atmosphere to the storytelling. Okay. So there's there's really good qualities. There's really good qualities to this game.
So where is it losing you?
I think it's really just the inconsistency in its campaigns gameplay wise. Its gameplay is not strong enough in certain aspects to really hold me tight. I have the option to opt out, and I'm taking it here because I'm just not loving it like I thought I would. I'm like, this is solid, but this is one of those business decisions we talked about earlier in the year.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm hearing it's 40 hours. I don't think it's that long, but even at 30, I'm like, I do have an option. This isn't a review. I've seen about 10 hours of it. I've seen enough, and I'm not in love with it. I'm almost at the end of the second campaign. I'm like, you know what? I want to recommend this to people in our Game Pass pick of the week because I think there are qualities that people will love. Like, I don't think there's enough Wild West games out there nowadays. There was an era where we had like Gun, we had Damnation, like these kind of Wild West inspired games. Call of Juarez, we had a lot of them. They kind of went away. This game takes a lot of that. It's fun. And it has fun with it, rather. It has a Max Payne-like mechanic where if you're like holding LT and your character's got the gun at the ready, if you press the dodge button, you'll jump and it'll go in slow motion and you'll blow them away. But here's the other thing I talked about, because it reminded me. I mentioned how the systems don't support the character selection, if you will. So you're playing as this race that is scorned. And it's weird because he plays the same as the bounty hunter who plays the same as the Native American and so on and so forth. So what felt great is when I was playing the bounty hunter, I'm like, I'm using all these bounty hunter qualities. I'm like, okay, cool. I feel where this game's at. But there's not enough differentiation among these characters where I almost feel it would have been better if it was this kind of Cthulhu take on the Wild West through the eyes of like one character. Because what it feels like is 5 individual stories that are all going to come together. And that's the one thing I'm having trouble walking away from is I feel like the end results here could be really cool, but you got to hang with it. And I don't really want to hang with it because it's not, it's annoying me at times, but I feel like some people will push through it. And I'm not so against it that I'm saying like, avoid this. It does feel like a good Game Pass game in the sense of experimentation, not quality. It is a quality game. But in terms of experimentation, like, well, I like this. I absolutely recommend trying it out because I think there's stuff here that will speak to a lot of people.
No, I think that's fair. And I think the way you described it is kind of where I've made my business decision after 10 plus hours with Crusader Kings, right? I was just like, look, I like it, but there's still some things that I feel need to be done better. The basic foundation is good, but the execution on certain things could be better to really keep me invested. And then when you look at the time designation that you're going to have to put in to actually beat it, then you go, So it could, this is exactly, and when you started talking about the differentiation of the different, because I'm watching the trailer of it right now, just while you've been talking, and, I'm seeing a werewolf, I'm seeing a little different thing, I see it, but if it's not implemented in a way that is a differentiator that's going to keep you there, then I can see like, okay, after the novelty wears off, then you're like, because that's what happened with me. I'm like, okay, all this sounds cool, Crusaders, all this sounds dope. So I'm like, but you're not implemented well. You didn't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got to hit the refresh button. And it's hard to do this, by the way, when you're making a game to like add a layer on. But when your systems are designed in a manner of speaking where it's like, okay, we're going to have, like they had to early in development say, we're going to split this up into 5 different characters. By default, I feel from a design perspective, you have to ensure that all 5 play and feel differently. Now, all 5 are treated differently in dialogue. That's cool. But in gameplay, they play the same. And so it becomes a twin stick shooter which is in a lot of ways, I was at first, Cog, I was ready to say, and I'm happy I waited from last week. I was ready to say, this is the Ascent we were looking for, right? Twin stick shooter, RPG elements. And in a lot of ways, it still is. But what really lost me again is a lack of systems to support the diversity that it clearly wants. So I'm all about it. I don't think it's a stay away type of game, but I also don't think it's a game you run out and buy. It's a game that you definitely try out through Game Pass. I played it on PC Game Pass 10 hours, and I was like, yeah, this is solid. I could see a lot of people really liking this one. So
no, fair enough. Great assessment.
Thank you.
Great assessment.
So Weird West Game Pass pick of the week. Check it out. Definitely worth a look at the very least. Now we got 5 ending questions. First one comes from Hi, I think I'm real. Hey, gentlemen, Sacred Symbols versus Defining Duke in a cage match. Who wins? Now, Cog, we're down a man, right? It's 2v3. You got size on your side. You got me. I got minor martial arts experience. Do we take on Dustin Furman, Chris Ragon, and Colin Moriarty in a steel cage match, and do we win?
All right, here's the thing. We're going to win, but here's the problem. Okay. We are outnumbered.
A handicap match, right?
Right. This is a handicap. So what you got to do, you have one job. You've got the height. You got to get Chris Ragon out of there. You got to get, it's key. If you don't get Chris Ragon out of there, we don't win. That's what it is. Because I'm going to grab up little Dustin, I'm going to roll him up in a ball and throw him some more. Then me and you could jump Colin. But you got to take care of your business.
Though. I could see that working out.
That's the strategy. It's a strategy. Look, Dustin, you're cute. You're adorable. I'm going to roll you up. So, but you've got the key is the Chris matchup is the key.
Yeah.
But you got the height.
He's probably got speed, though. I'm quick.
I feel like quick. He might be hard to hit. You know what I'm saying? So that's the matchup. If you don't win that, we don't win. Yeah. That's it. Because then it's just numbers. No matter how big I am at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if
how do we keep Colin away in the meantime, right? You're taking out Dustin. I'm going out for Chris.
I got to get Dustin quick.
Yeah.
Like that. I know what I got to do.
We got to throw one of them out the ring, right?
Yeah. We got, like I said, wrap up,
throw them out.
Roll them somewhere. That's it. Get them out. Then was this us two. You take care of that. I can hold off Colin. I can hold them off. You know what I'm saying? But at some point, numbers are numbers. Yeah. Humans are humans. More humans are more humans. Mm-hmm. And then after that, after I can hold them off, then here you go. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then we just do the tag team, double elbow drop, 1, 2, 3, boom, boom. There we go. Finish.
Champs. LSM championship belt. Put it around our waist.
I wish they hear this. They'd be dying after this.
Do we call in Ben as our third, right? Do we, you know how like WWE used to do it? Sometimes AEW does it where they're like, and a special guest will join the tag team, right? It's just a silhouette and Ben shows up and down the walkway. He's just jawing the whole way, chewing gum.
Listen, he's supposed to be on our team. He loves Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
That's Duke honorary. Yeah. By automatic.
Ryan McCaffrey's our call-in for like support. The IGN battle of the century, Colin versus Ryan McCaffrey.
Let's go. That's it, man. Steel cage, man. Let's go. I love it.
All right, our next write-in is for me, but I'm curious to see your thoughts on this, Cog. Tinted Toodles writes, "What's up, boys? Long-time listener, first-time writing in. Matty, 2 weeks ago, you mentioned that you've been vegan for a month or so now, which is awesome. How's it going? Why'd you decide on the new lifestyle? I decided to make the switch over 2 years ago and haven't looked back since. It's one of the best decisions I've made, and think a lot of the concerns people normally have are way overblown, like getting enough protein, calories, etc. I've been able to consistently build muscle without packing on excess fat, which is something I've struggled with most of my life. Since you guys like to focus on physical well-being, I was curious what your general thoughts on plant-based eating are and if Cog has ever considered it. The Game Changers documentary on Netflix is what convinced me to try it out, and I recommend it to anyone who is curious to learn more. Have a great value peanut butter type of day, Jess." Cog, I want to just, of course, get your thoughts on this. You know, I don't want to be, by the way, like I know vegans have a reputation of being fucking annoying, so I'm just doing it as I'm asked. I'm not trying to talk about it, interject it. I'm just doing my thing. But I did want to talk about it since it was asked. And no, Cog, like, where do you stand on that type of dieting at all? Because when I started doing this, man, again, I fought a fucking war. My family, friends, everyone was up against me and doing this, man. It was I'm not even kidding. I got into arguments weekly. It was a battle, man. It was tough. That was the tougher part. Dropping meat and all that stuff really wasn't that hard for me. The tough part was getting people to just accept it. Just be like, okay, you're doing your thing. You remember you were talking about your games, like, no, I'm cool, bro. I don't need to play all the. For me, I was like, oh, I don't need that hamburger. I'm good, man. It's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? You're not getting your protein. I'm like, okay, like Now
All right,
I
here we
get where
go.
vegans come from being know-it-alls, because
Yeah.
like then you gotta fact drop on everyone in nearby vicinity so no one attacks you. I get it. But Cog,
That's a
I
good
want to know,
point.
where do you stand on plant-based?
To be honest, I haven't tried it.
Mm.
I haven't tried it. It's pure selfishness and my love of meat.
No, nothing wrong
it's
with
just
it either, man.
it's just literally what it is. But I know some vegans. They love it. As Matty eloquently put, the poops are awesome.
Yes,
And
yes.
yes, that's what I hear. The cleansing the system. And look, I'm not stupid. Meat, there's a lot of negative connotation with it as well too. And when you see how the sausage is made, and when you really want to be brutally honest about certain things, there are a lot of concerns, right? And you have to be careful with overindulgence in red meat and stuff like that too. So look, I understand what comes with it. I don't know. I want to watch that documentary though, because shout out to Tinted Toodle. He said, yeah, that changed it. So I changed his view on it. I forgot which was the one. It wasn't really beat. It was kind of, I know one thing that really made me look at McDonald's crazy. I think it was called like Super Size Me or something like that.
Yes, that
That
was
documentary.
always on in high school, man.
Yeah, that one made me look at them different. I was like, damn, I gotta chill. I gotta calm down. Like, I really put a time out on a lot of that stuff. And I was just like, slow down. So when I ever do it now, it's like the week moment of the month, or you know what I'm saying, where I had it and that's it. But with this, I do need to look into it, because I'm a person that I'm like, look, if there's enough information and enough people that are trying, and I know some people who are like vegan lifters, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
They look good. They're not. I don't really see nothing crazy going on with them. So it's worth it. So worth looking into it and give it a shot.
Yeah, it's funny that Tinted Toodles writes about a Netflix documentary. I dated a vegetarian/vegan for 4 years now, and so she was never like, you need to do this, you need to try this. Like, she never pushed it towards me, which
I respect.
I absolutely respect that, because I would order a big ass burger, I'd munch on it, this is so good, and she would never make me feel guilty, never say anything. She'd encourage it, even. Like, she was the vegan that you want to be, really.
Yeah.
And we watched the documentary. It was during our 4-year anniversary, actually. We were away, and we threw on a documentary on Netflix called What the Health is what it was. And I had been toying with the idea for some time. Like, I just want to try it, right? Like, let's see what this is about. I watched this documentary, and I do recommend it to people, because it is viewed as a pro-vegan documentary, because I think the guy who made it is vegan. But really what it is a conversation on the health industry at large, and the connection you'll have with like meat brands on the American Heart Association's website, and the meals they suggest, even though they're bad for your heart. And you learn a bit about the potential. I don't want to run away and base my whole life on a documentary. I didn't do that. But you do deeper research, and you learn that there is a potential budding corruption in the food industry that goes unaddressed, because like, food is good. Who gives a shit? As long as it tastes good, no one cares. Completely agree with that. And I don't guilt anyone for that. But for me, that was really what made me make the changes. I'm like, let me see if, because I was reading personal accounts of like, I went vegan, here's how I changed. Some people gained a lot of weight. That's something that happens. Some people do gain a lot of weight from it. Some people are like, this is the best I've felt. I was like, let me see then for myself, let me go plant-based, how I feel. And of course, I talked about the poops, and I was like, yeah, these are great, man. But before that, the week, dude, you shock your body, right? Your body is so used to a type of food for my case, 26 years. And suddenly I'm like, we're going all plants. Not raw vegan, but like, I'm going all plants. And yeah, like, dude, my stomach was hurting certain days. I felt off certain days, because the whole body's going through a shock. Once you come out on the other side and you've adjusted, the biggest thing I noticed was my change in sleep.
Really?
Yeah. So what would happen is I would go to bed, and normally I'd sleep to when the alarm went off. And when I woke up, I'd be like, oh my God, bro, I'm so fucking tired, no matter how much sleep I got. With this now, I'll go to bed at like 3 o'clock, and I'll set my alarm like, okay, I'm going to wake up at 11. I'm going to sleep in today. I'll wake up at 10 and feel good. And not like that, like I'm running on adrenaline because I've been asleep for like 6-7 hours. I'll wake up and I'll be like, I can start my day. I feel good. That was the biggest change for me. A change in sleep habits, a change in energy level, and feeling pretty good throughout the day. The toughest thing about it has been finding the calories. Yeah. That's been the toughest part, because a lot of vegan food is calorie dense. You just got to know where to find it. That's the biggest hurdle, is finding it. It takes willpower in that part. When you find the things that work for you, the transition's easy. I was never crazy on meat anyway. Like, I love a good hamburger, man. Like, that's my thing.
Yeah.
For me, the toughest part was seafood. Seafood is what I love. And that's why I will forever leave the door open. Pescatarian life.
Pescatarian.
I might, dabble. We'll see.
Dabble.
Because that's the one I love. I love seafood, man. I can drop the milk. I can drop dairy products. Like, it was fucking no problem at all. I didn't really like them that much anyway. Meat, also easy. For me, it was just really the seafood. That was the tough part.
Okay.
But
no, I respect it.
Man. Okay, it's just, the protein is absolutely slander. Like, when people say, like, you can't get protein, I don't think I've had more protein in my life. That's no exaggeration. Like, plant-based foods are loaded because of the things that they're built from are high in protein. So you get a ton of that. Get a ton of carbs. Like, it's actually more ideal for my diet when I finally found, like, what gets me the right amount of calories. When I'm finally clear to go back to the gym this week. So I'm going to start going.
Nice.
Probably this coming week. I might hold off because PAX, it's like I'm going to be gone for that week. So it's like, I might be wasting my time at that point. But I'm going back soon. I'm ready to start building for real now, because it's like I'm getting the macros that I've been looking for in my diet, and I found them. So for me, that's really what works. And I always tell people this, right? Like, now that I've tried this out, I've gotten some questions about it. Like, should I go vegan? Should I not? What I've learned is this: like, everyone's body is different, right? For some people, like the standard diet, I've heard people go vegan. And when they go vegan, they're like malnutrition. They get a blood exam. They're like, no, you got to go back to eating meat, go back to how you were. Like, you cannot live this lifestyle. Some people's body don't agree with it. Like, it's not that's the thing I would tell people. It's like that, not the flip of the switch that's going to fix everything. Your body may not agree with it. And
that's a good point.
What it's really opened my eyes to is there are so many different fun diets out there. Like, I do, even as a vegan, I do want to try pescatarian for a while. Like, how do I feel with like a steady dosage of like seafood alongside vegan food? I love vegan food.
It's kind of what King does now.
Yeah, it's fun. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's because what it's done for me, I'm 26, I'm moving out of my home soon. And I cooked for myself a decent amount, but what it's let me do is kind of grow up in this sense as well. You could do this with obviously more ingredients, but with a traditional diet, what I noticed, Cog, was like, it's very easy. You can grab anything, right? So you take the easy options, the takeout whenever you want. I was never forced to really learn how to fully interact with ingredients, fully cook for myself, learn a plethora of new recipes. And because now I was limited, I had to act. I was like, okay, this is a self-imposed challenge. I could just go and order pizza or whatever. How do I make my own pizza, though? Find the crust, find the cheese, find the sauce. Sauce is fine, but like, find that type of stuff. Find the answers, experiment. How do I make that myself? How do I make a wrap for myself? What's my meat replacement like? What do I do with this meat replacement? Which is seitan, which is great, by the way. You find these alternatives, and with that, you get really creative. I've never been more creative in the kitchen. It's fun. Like, I'll come home and I'll make like a special type of wrap, and I really enjoy that stuff. I've always loved cooking. I've always loved being in the kitchen, funny enough. So for me, like, this has been a good change, because even if I go back, like, I've never ruled out going full lifetime vegan. We'll see. Because like, I've noticed if there's one thing that's changed for me, I'm a little more hungry often.
Okay. Gotcha.
And I think it's because my body's still adjusting probably. I'm still learning how to get the right calories in. Yeah. Well, last thing. Sorry, I'm going on for a while here.
No, you're good.
I weigh 168, 6'2". Okay. I'm a very thin guy.
Yeah, you're tall too.
Yeah, right. I didn't realize how much bloat I actually had. When I changed my diet, I thought like, oh shit, I'm losing weight. Like, I feel myself feel a little thinner. I step on the scale. I'm the same weight I was. Like, some of this shit I lost.
Composition.
Yes. Changed. Felt like, even my girlfriend, she hugged me. She's like, she could feel my ribs. Like again, I weigh 168. She's like, saying like, oh, I can actually feel them now, which you couldn't before. I was like, oh, that's cause for concern. Okay, let's check. Weighed the same. I checked it on a different scale. Weighed the same. I was like, wow. Right. Okay, so that was a bodily change as well. Like, something shape-wise, while I was the same weight, I got rid of something there and a lot of excess bloat. So that's the other thing is now I really feel ready to build. Oh,
no doubt. No, this is good information. And, I always I've never done vegan, but I had a close friend that was. We discovered he was. Oh, what is it? You have to use gluten free.
Mm,
So as a test, because it sucked for him, like we'd eat out, and he'd like, yo, I can't have this, or I can't have that, or I can't. And I'm like, you know
eating out
what?
stuff.
Let me try. How it is, so I can adapt, so you don't feel left out when
That's very
And
nice
it
of you.
wasn't that bad. I was like, yo, I had some gluten meals. I'm like, okay, this is actually not that bad. I was surprised. So it's interesting to hear your journey. Starting being a vegan and how it's affected you and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, I've tried a few things, but there's a part of me that is curious, but I want to watch this Game Changers thing
I've
and
never seen
see
that one. Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to watch it. I want to see what's going on.
Yeah. I just recommend What the Health because I've seen it, but check out that. And obviously, if you have
Mhm.
any questions for me personally, you can just
Oh
always
yeah,
ask
for
me
sure.
because that
I will.
key is finding the right brands. There are some
Yes.
really good vegan brands. You can't tell the difference. Like you cannot
Mm.
tell the difference. It's not me trying to high sell it to anybody, but that's been the best part is like some people will ask me, like, don't you miss having a burger? And I'm like, bro, Beyond Burgers are actually fucking insane. Like I took a bite, it's juicy, it's got the same flavor, everything. I'm just like, I don't miss a burger because I got one. And it
Got you Beyond.
yeah, man,
Okay.
it's ridiculous. So
Fair enough.
that's just my experience with it so far. Toodles, thank you for writing in. And I hope your vegan journey goes well.
Salute.
Next one here is from Josh Correa. Hey, Dukes. So I played and replayed the Elder Scrolls Oblivion and Skyrim at least a dozen times. However, I've never played Morrowind. Do you guys recommend me giving it a shot? Thanks, and I hope you have an I accidentally shot my arrow at a chicken instead of the intended target in Skyrim kind of day.
No doubt. Josh, what up? Yeah, man. Morrowind is really beloved.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I could recommend
It's on my remake list for Bethesda above even Fallout.
Yeah. It really neat because it's just as great as it was. It's a timepiece, really. It's for its time. Yeah. It was great. If you go back to it now after playing those two, you're gonna have some shock.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a shock to the system on how it looks and how it moves. And so, yeah, this is one that is screaming remaster, remake treatment, and I hope they do at some point because it is a fantastic game, but it just needs the modern sensibilities on it.
Yeah, it's tough because, for example, in Morrowind, Josh, just so you know this, like let's say in Skyrim, you swing your sword and you connect with an enemy, it's a hit, right? In Morrowind, if you have like a 20 in your short sword skill, you'll swing and whiff and whiff and whiff and whiff until you make contact, and that skill will go up. And by like 90, you'll start connecting with every hit. But for a while, you're swinging and missing. And so it's like a first-person action game that's skill checking you across everything, which for the hardcore RPG fan is awesome. But if you've played and replayed Oblivion and Skyrim a dozen times at least, I'm going to say you're going to have some growing pains, but you might want to at least give it a look. I always say, if you're a big Bethesda Game Studios junkie like me, I've never beat Morrowind. But I've played a lot of it because I respect Bethesda and what this game did for them. But for me, Morrowind's the game that I've put 40 hours into. I just can't finish it, though. And it doesn't call my name like the others. And you could call me a casual for that, I guess, kind of is. But for me, it's really just the combat. I love the skill checking, but when it starts to interfere, it's like New Vegas and Alpha Protocol with their shooting. When you start to skill check the action commands for me, when I shoot a bullet and I'm aimed at you, and it instead goes, it somehow comes out sideways from the gun and goes all the way and hits a building. That's where you lose me because it's like that made no sense why that's occurring.
Breaks the immersion.
Right? When it's turn-based, at least you know it's like my turn, attack, whoosh, missed. I can't go again for another turn. But when it's action-based, that's where I struggle. So no, Josh, that will be waiting for you in there. I do think this is one of the games that does need some type of guidance on exploring the world because you will check that fucking journal a million times. Head west towards Leavid and then go east towards Ragnarok and then north towards on this street you'll find a fork and take the left fork and go. You'll get lost, man. You'll get lost. It's a, as Cog said perfectly, it's an RPG from its time. You can love it nowadays, but it's gonna be tough.
I agree.
Sam Lee's our next write-in. Good day, my Dukes. I asked this question since you're both content creators. If you had the resources and access you needed, what gaming-related documentary would you create? Would it be about a game, a franchise, a company, a trend, an event, something scandalous? Would it be a video or a podcast series? Have a good day and treat yourself.
Ooh, Sam Lee, what's up, man? Salute. It's a good one. I think gaming related documentary for me as an OG gamer. Just on RP, we had Paris, like how he does xCloud now, right? For Xbox. And he talked about being stationed, he's Navy, and he talked about being stationed in Japan, and this is during the height of like the arcade scene in Japan. And for me, I wish there was like I could do a documentary, almost like a time capsule, you know, early 90s, even late 80s arcade scene, competitive scene from the fighting game community. That is a thing. People have no idea how intense it was, whether it be the Chinatown fairs in New York City, whether it be 42nd Street and the big arcades. I mean, these things are like legendary, the best of the best, and they put their quarters in whatever the games were, the Tekkens, the Virtual Fighters, the Mortal Kombats, the Street Fighters. They were the who's who, and this is before the esports era. So if there was any way I could facilitate, I probably don't have the resources, but someone help facilitate it to get it going, I would love to do a documentary on that. And it's a forgotten time, and I just feel that people have lost. I mean, esports are bringing it back with the model, the competitive nature, and now it's teams and stuff like that. And that's great. But it was something about the arcade scene, the dimly lit rooms, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just a thing, man. And like, I know there's now in New York, I don't know if you're familiar with this, Matty, it's called Barcade.
I've heard
And
that,
yeah, Barcade is cool. I mean, they try to mimic it on some levels, and yeah, man, it was your reputation is on the line. You put that quarter up, a group of people circling. It was the thing. So yeah, that would be mine if on a gaming related documentary. And yeah, I would do that. Just doing my pilgrimages to different arcades in the scene. But what about you, sir?
It's funny this question comes in because in 2017, I just had to look it up real quickly. I posted a Patreon trailer for a series called The Retrospective, one that I never was able to get off the ground because when I had announced it, I can talk about it now. When I announced it, I had a deal with Xbox, of all companies, funny enough, to do a documentary for the Coalition, which never went through. And I also was talking to Bethesda about doing one for Bethesda Game Studios, which also didn't go through. And Obsidian went dark on me. So I made the mistake of announcing something when plans were not. I should have recorded the episode, right? That's what should have happened. I know that now. But then I was like on the promise of others that it would happen. And I was going to go from Xbox first party studio to Xbox first party studio and kind of like tell their stories, right? It's crazy how things change. So I announced this series called The Retrospective. Those fall apart. If I were to pick a story I want to tell, I got two. One would be completing the vision of the documentary I really wanted to do, which was with pandemic games. They made, Star Wars, Battlefront, Destroy All Humans, Mercenaries, The Saboteur, so on and so forth. They've made just such great games, Lord of the Rings, Conquest. And I had an opportunity to like find through LinkedIn and hunting down through Twitter DMs, like all these different people who were big names at the team. And I got a couple of interviews. Some of them, I lost two of the most important ones that were corrupted in a hard drive, which I don't know where the rest went. One of them was like Josh Resnick, the main CEO of Pandemic. He gave me like a couple hours of his time, or no, he gave me an hour and a half of his time. That went away somewhere. And then the other was, his name is escaping me right now, but I'll figure it out in a moment. But I also lost his interview. And so it was very, very, or I lost my half of the interview. So it was him talking to me, but I couldn't hear what I was asking. So all I had were like 3 interviews. And to me, I put it out as an episode of Ham Radio Podcast because the vision had been lost. I wasn't getting any responses. I didn't have the questions for them again. It was one of those moments where I was like, fuck, man. I almost kind of felt like I blew it, even though I know it's sort of out of my hands on like some tech issues. So if I could like go back and just redo that and do it right, that'd be it. Like, of course, the lost opportunities and those other Xbox first party studios, that's fine. Like, it's going to happen, right? But
Definitely gonna happen.
You know, that one, or as the one I've been trying to do, I'm making some headway on it, is Bethesda Game Studios and like what makes their studio click. We know about the making of so many of their games, but for me, it's about like the people there. Because the people there are people I've literally grown up with, if you think about it. Like these people who have made, we talked about Morrowind just a question ago, are still making Starfield. All of them aren't, but like many of them are.
Many of them are.
That's insane. That's unheard of. And it's they got to be doing something that is keeping them there. Not by force, mind you, but they got to be doing something that is keeping their employees so happy that they're in the development field, by the way. I've seen the communications department come and go. I've interacted with a number of them. The developers, though, the ones who are in the trenches, working hard, dealing with the stress, the pressure, through 76, staying with them. Something there is really good. And I'm trying to find out what. If I had the resources, that was a story I tried to tell back in 2017. And my determination has been renewed with this new journalistic approach we've seen with reports. I want to tell a good story. And so this is the one I'm trying to go for. Will it be me flying to the studio? No, it'll probably be over here on Zencaster, on Discord, whatever works for them, phone calls. That's the story I want to tell, though. It's like, what makes Bethesda Game Studios a great team to work at?
Yeah, I think that's fantastic because it's so apparent to me they have some type of internal magic. Again, you know, as a person who played, you know, some Bethesda games coming up, the popular ones, I didn't play all of them. It's not until I went to like my first E3 and I remember I couldn't get into that damn conference. I just get so mad. I checked it, I couldn't get in. Damn it. And then one year, I'm gonna say maybe 2017, I got in. Let's see what the hype. And bro, it's just it's a different culture. You can tell the people who work there love working there. And like you said, obviously all jobs have some turnover, but just put it in perspective what you just said. We are excited for Starfield. And you just said people who worked on Morrowind are part of that team that stayed throughout. Like there's something there. And again,
almost
this goes to the people. Man. Bro, and that's why for the people who are like, hey, I don't know how you could be so excited. You haven't seen any. That's why. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because again, these games that we love, we know that a lot of the core DNA from that A team is still there and it's beloved. And when you go to these Bethesda conferences, I'm telling you right now, the energy is different than it's not in a corporate garbage. It's like, yo, they love each other. It's all fun and games. It's a different. I'm like, yo, what is this? Is this a game studio or is it a family? Like, what is going on here? And that's why they're beloved. And I will say this: I love my Bungie, but I have to say, Bethesda culture and Bethesda fans. It's a different energy, bro. Like, I gotta shout him out right now. If you listen, my boy Anchorman V, like. That boy rides for that friend. Like he rides for Bethesda games. It's a different level of loyalty.
They're my favorite publisher, man.
Yeah, like it's something about those games. They connect on a different level, and once you're in, you're in. And that's why people. I always get mad at them when they try to come for you with the he's just trying to take advantage of the Xbox because they're popping now. And he did. Bro, if your favorite developer that got you into game that literally made you now is acquired by another company and you were already playing on 360 and loving that company anyway, it's the perfect marriage. So it's like, what are you talking about? Of course it makes sense. Yeah. So stop it. You know what I'm saying? The people that's hating. I know y'all little dudes with your side comment hating on them numbers. I see y'all, but y'all ain't stopping them. My boy's outside.
Yeah,
he's doing
I'm telling you, bro.
Subscribe to the channel. I got to play.
I appreciate it. I'm telling you, man, once Starfield rolls around, like it'll be a special time. It will be.
Yeah.
I don't know if the game will end up being great or not. I hope it is, but it'll be a very special energy on our show. That E3 summer showcase show that we're going to do inevitably in June, I imagine. I feel that'll be a moment for us, right? Because no matter what they deliver, we know pretty much guaranteed Starfield will be there, right? And that'll be a thing. We're going to show up with our Starfield merch. I'm going to order my shirt. I still have the tab.
I'm right now. I literally, as soon as we go off, I'm like, it's ready.
My debit card's right behind me.
Getting ordered. I just got to get the card and check out.
I'm not putting it on until that episode. I'm going to throw it on.
Oh, bet.
And we're gonna show up in it. We're gonna celebrate, and I think it's gonna be fun because there's an energy. People forget because Fallout 76 happened, and I 100% respect that.
100% get it.
I remember watching my numbers as a YouTuber. You pay attention to those. You heard a new Fallout game's coming. Whoop 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 whoop. Up the numbers go. Jason Schreier comes around. It's gonna be online only. Whoop. Down they went, bro. Next video, it was everyone gone. Everyone was like, Nope.
Well,
so with Fallout 4, when you know it's going to be single player, Skyrim, when I knew it was going to be single player, two games that are massive building blocks for my channel. There's an energy, enthusiasm, excitement, unlike anything. I think it's better than Cyberpunk in that respect. Like that excitement, so contagious. It's fun because you know the wait is short. That's the thing.
Yes.
Not Skyrim really, but Fallout 4, even 76, that wait is so short. You know it's right there. And that amps me up more than anything, man. It's like, oh, it's 6 months away. Oh my God.
Yep, we're right there, man. I mean, that was my anticipated title last year when I thought it was coming out or whatever. Yeah. And now that we know and they put the date out, let's
put
go,
it
man.
In,
I'm ready.
What would he say? Put it in ink? He said you could put it in ink?
Yes, yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. Good stuff. Last question comes from your favorite cog, Nuclear Prostate. Good afternoon, Positivity crew. In your opinion, is there any genre or style of game that's missing or underrepresented in the Xbox ecosystem? With all the Microsoft teams, I feel like they should have their hands in every genre. But when I think Xbox and the games I love, it's mainly shooters that come to mind. Maybe they should dust off Rare for another collectathon platformer or get a team to make smaller, addictive puzzle games. Just a few ideas. Thanks, and have a finding out how racist your grandmother actually is at the family dinner kind of day. Whoa.
Yo, that's hilarious. Salute to Nuclear Prostate. He left a comment on one of the videos. He was like, I love when they say my name.
Yeah.
Just bust out laughing. So salute them. I'm gonna fight for fighting games. I am team. I'm at hashtag just one, but there are some hashtag just one games on Xbox coming. So I can't discount Hellblade. I can't discount a lot of stuff we know is coming, but fighting games.
Yeah. Baron.
What's going on? And yeah, we need that. So, we heard the rumblings about the Killer Instinct stuff. We'll see about that. But yeah, they need studios that's going to produce these type of games and keep it alive. Or if not, bring some talent in that expertise in those and make it happen.
Yeah, I look at something like Guilty Gear Strive, which just came out last year, and that was, I always say that the fighting game of the year pick is always so fucking hilarious to me with like Jeff Keighley's show, because I'm like, if one comes out, that's the winner, because it's just
it's a winner,
right? So Guilty Gear Strive was like the winner last year, so it was the only really notable new one. Not on Xbox though, PlayStation, PC. This is one, man. I just don't get the opting out. I get it from a developer standpoint, but I don't get why Xbox isn't aggressive in making it happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's just living off the Mortal Kombat, and the Injustice.
There they go.
And I think Injustice at one point was exclusive for a little bit before it came over to Xbox.
I actually don't remember that.
One of them, correct me if I'm wrong, I could be wrong. I felt like one of them, it took a while to come over. I could be wrong on that. But it just feels like they're just living off of the ports with third party. They're doing what PlayStation does, what I felt, multiplayer, where fighting games, they're like, oh, the third party devs, we'll just throw a bag at that. You still need something in the house for yourself, man. You really do. It's a genre to me that is still worth investing in, and you need to plug that home.
I agree. For me, of course, I would say JRPGs, but for the sake of conversation, I'm going to take a page out of Nuclear Prostate's book, something I've been vying for a while. If you've been listening to the show, I've been really pushing for a Banjo remake, because I think that Xbox needs more of those types of games. They need more of the kid-friendly, if you will, type of game. And I feel like it's Banjo's time, man. Bring him out of retirement, right? A collectathon, a platformer of some way, shape, or form. Look at what Nintendo's doing, man. I don't like Nintendo, but look at Kirby. Look at the love for that. Look at the brand new, what's the word I'm looking for? The new energy that people have for Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Like, that was a really cool game. Post-apocalyptic, Mario Odyssey vibes, not too long, not too short, just a finely tuned 3D platformer with a lot of fun ideas. That's fun being the central point, right? But you look at a lot of Xbox's upcoming games, they're for the hardcore, man. You're looking at your Avowed, your Starfields, your Hellblades. Like, you're like, oh, this is like some special energy here. We look at the reports about what's coming from Compulsion, like really, really harsh tones for these single player games. I love that for hardcore. But I feel like for the younger audience, hopping into Game Pass, we got to look internally and see what we can do for them. That's why I always push TT Games. It's a good partner for you, Xbox. But beyond that, man, you got IP there, much like you have fighting games, like Cog mentioned. Killer Instinct would be a great one I would pick out. They're not even just IP you own, but known ones, not dead ones that people don't care about, like Banjo. There's been this resurgence of love for Banjo through Nintendo, by the way, through Smash Bros, through bringing it to Nintendo Switch Online. I just feel like there's something there, clearly. That would be my go-to, would be definitely doing a 3D platformer collectathon of some kind.
No, agreed. I mean, you can't let Nintendo just have a complete domination on the kids market and you have nothing of your own. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the closest I felt they came, and it wasn't a 3D, but, I felt like Cuphead was a movement at one point and they had control. And then, that didn't, work out. So, it's a genre they need. They need a mascot. They need that, like, the cutesy, to get the kids in. I agree
as well with myself. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is everything we got for episode 67 of Defining Duke and Xbox Podcast. Cog, it was an absolute blast doing this with you. This was a fun episode.
Very fun episode. A lot of varied topics. Have fun. My favorites. A couple of my favorites, but I know you're thinking hashtag already. I will say, but if you do have one of mine, great. That our Halo joint was fire. Halo segment was fire.
I would agree with you.
That was especially the hockey reference joint. That was crazy.
Role player DD.
Role player DD. That was Role player DD was good.
I like that.
All
right, cool. So we'll do that. If you got this deep into the show, you want to let us know. Use the hashtag RolePlayerDD, ROLE, by the way, player DD.
Yes.
Put it in the comments. Tag us on Twitter. I'm at G27status. That's at Lord Cognito. You can let us know what you think of the show. We'll be clicking on the hashtag, seeing what y'all think. With that, Cog, any closing thoughts, or shall we wrap this one up?
Let's wrap it up. Another sensational Dukes in the books. Appreciate the support. I love the comments. Love Twitter's been lit. They really listening. They're plugging out little parts of the show. They're coming for us for certain things. Like, you can tell they listening. It's cool to see, man. And I love the way the show is going. So
good. I'm glad, and I feel the same way. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next week for episode 68 of Defining Duke. Peace out.
Peace.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.